Regular council meeting. This is the regular meeting of the City Council. It's Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, and the time is 6:48, and we will start our regular agenda. City Attorney, is there a closed session report?
There is nothing to report, Mayor.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll move right along to the ceremonial items. The first one is recognition of April as the Fair Housing Month. Each April, National Fair Housing Month is celebrated to reaffirm our commitment to ending housing discrimination and to commemorate the passage of the Federal Fair Housing Act. The Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing because of race, national origin, religion, sex, including gender identity and sexual orientation, disability, and familial status. This year's theme is Fair Housing, the Act in Action, which we invite you to participate in by expanding your fair housing knowledge and finding out what actions you can take to better advocate for housing justice. I do hereby proclaim the month of April in the city of Cupertino as Fair Housing Month. A proclamation has already been issued to Project Sentinel, who provides housing solutions and community mediation by developing and promoting fairness and equality of housing opportunities to all. So congratulations to everyone involved in fair housing. This is the month to celebrate. Thank you. There is a second ceremonial item, and this is a recognition of April 1 as Odisha Day in the city of Cupertino. Members of the Cupertino Bhubaneswar City's Sister City Initiative, I'm honored to celebrate the 89th Odisha Day with you, marking our vibrant partnership with Bhubaneswar. This relationship has greatly enriched our cultural landscape, promoting mutual understanding and respect. Odisha Day showcases our commitment to inclusivity and diversity in Cupertino and offers a platform for cultural exchange and community engagement. As we celebrate the 89th Odisha Day in 2024, let us reaffirm our dedication to this valuable connection, fostering ties that extend beyond geographic limits. I applaud your dedication to the Sister City Initiative and wish you continued success. I would like to invite a member of the Bhubaneswar City Committee to say a few words, and then we can all take a picture with the group.
Thank you, Mayor Mohan. My name is Mahesh Prakala. I'm one of the board members for the Sister City. And thank you, Vice Mayor Fluen. I always go to Hangwei, City Councilor Hangwei, Liang Chao, and Katie Moore. Really appreciate it. It's a real honor for all the Odias living around the Bay Area, actually. This is the 89th Odisha Day. And just for history's sake, this is the first. Why we celebrate the Odisha Day is this was the first state that was formed in India based on language. And that was in 1st April 1936. It was like 100 years of revolution. And that point in time, Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha were part of that state. And after that formation of that state, many other states came into being. So, and that recognizes their self-respect, self-esteem. Their culture is very different than the other states. So that is why we are celebrating that. And this is what we want to bring to the Cupertino area. And I think this is a great honor for the state and the people of Odisha and India. Thank you so much, City Council members and Mayor. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's go to the front and get a picture with the committee.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Make that happen. Thank you. Make that happen.
Okay, moving on with the agenda. Are there any postponements and orders of the day, Madam City Manager?
No, Mayor.
Excellent. Okay, moving on to oral communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for people wishing to address the council on any matter within the jurisdiction of the council and not on the agenda for discussion. The total time for oral communications will ordinarily be limited to 1 hour. And individual speakers, how many do we have, Madam City Clerk?
Yes, Mayor. I have 3 requests to speak in Community Hall, and I see 1 hand raised virtually requesting to speak.
Okay, so we have about 4 speakers. Each speaker will get 3 minutes to make their comments. Okay, we can start. Who's first?
Yes, so we have Ricardo Acevedo, followed by Jennifer Griffin, followed by Rhoda Fry. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Honorable Council. Good evening. I would like to start by saying that I am lucky. Lucky because if I did not have the support system I have today, I would be another disabled homeless veteran. Since the beginning of February of this year, I was unexpectedly placed on unpaid leave from my job, this job. I am here at City Hall once again because city staff have and continue to discriminate against me and have provided a workplace that not only is dangerous but unjust. I believe my complaints are being suppressed because they would undermine city staff's intentions and claims that they have outlined in the fact-finding report of A House Divided, in which city staff flaunts policy, procedure, and the municipal code, but violates those rules themselves. In fact, the things the city staff have accused City Council of doing pales in comparison to what the city has been doing, which includes violations of contract, municipal code, and the labor law, using their positions in the city to report defamatory and false statements to other government agencies, and worse, to the public in their official capacity as public figures. I'm here to bring these things to light because if they stay in the dark, city staff retains power to continue their campaign of fear, defamation, discrimination, and retaliation. I recommend changing the current investigator also. I believe shutting off a recording device in the middle of a meeting to make claims that also offer her deniability is a huge mistake. Not only that, but this is the same investigator who wrote A House Divided. This is a conflict of interest. At least it is to me. I would also suggest repealing this failed notion that city staff has put forward that the ethics policy is self-reinforcing, because it is not. It's actually self-rewarding, okay? And it's used as a tool to avoid accountability and transparency, for which city staff continuously champion, but does neither, okay? Let's see here. Besides using their differences in power against employees, giving incentive for city staff to easily cover any and all mistakes, especially when they are playing politics. We must ask ourselves in the city, can we effectively govern if city staff are able to conduct such behavior freely and without penalty or proper governance? The current state of things has perpetuated some of the worst discrimination I have ever experienced, in which the city seems to encourage and reinforce rules for thee but not for me mentality towards me, the public, and even you, City Council. Giving itself more rights than others in a process and influencing public opinion through dishonest means. I believe that the findings of the current investigation are requested within the city of Cupertino to be compromised, as any notion of validation towards my claims could shine light on the hypocrisy of the previous report, A House Divided. I believe that you should have a verification system in place and no longer take any reports from city staff at face value until trust can be reestablished, and that reports and investigations be conducted from outside parties that are impartial, uninvolved, without any ties or implication to its findings. I also request a private meeting with City Council to further discuss these and other serious matters that hinder my civil rights, and I would also like to hand you guys information that I received not too long ago from the city itself. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next we have Jennifer Griffin, followed by Rhoda Fry, followed by Ed P. Welcome, Jennifer.
Good evening, City Council. I just wanted to start out tonight talking about some issues that I have been involved with. There are currently 4 housing bills that have been proposed as of February and March that are attacking the Coastal Commission and attempting to take it apart. The 1976 Coastal Commission was established by citizen initiative in the state. My parents were involved in this when I was a teenager. There are currently 4 bills, SB 951, which is Senator Wiener, which is attempting to exclude portions of San Francisco coastal area from the Coastal Commission. It has been amended, but they're also trying to change the depth of the Coastal Conservancy area all the way up and down the coast of California. There's AB 2560, which is with Assemblymember David Alvarez from San Diego, and also Senator Wiener, and this is attempting to implement the density bonus of height, reduction of setback, and lack of parking in the coastal areas. There's also SB 1077 by Senator Catherine Blankensphere from San Diego, which is attempting to introduce ADUs and junior ADUs in the coastal area without permits. SB 1092 is Senator Catherine Blankensphere again, and she's attempting to have multifamily housing that forces the Coastal Commission to approve this in the coastal area. I believe that there is more intent of what is going on with these housing bills. Looking at them, they're like omnibus bills. We saw this last year with SB 423 with Senator Wiener. You look at it and you think it's one thing, but after going through all the committees, it turns out to be something else. So I think that what is happening is that these bills are attempting to take away local control of the entire coast of California, give it to the state or the federal government, and it's not just to help housing developers, it's to take away the ability of the public in the beach areas to have concerns about environmental issues. The federal government recently leased 2 offshore wind farm areas in California. This was in Humboldt Bay and Morro Bay. These wind farms may be good, but they also require transmission lines, and you have to build the rotors on site. I believe that this is what they're trying to do, but they're not telling anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next, we have Rhoda Fry, followed by Ed P. Welcome, Rhoda.
Hi, I've got an overhead. As usual, I'm better prepared on paper than I am verbally. I continue to be concerned by the city finances, so here's one of the pages that was in this Moss Adams finance report that was requested by our city council, but I haven't seen as much work as I'd like to see done. I am very happy that we have a new finance manager and a purchasing manager, and we have more work to do. So a lot of red areas of finance that need to be done. Again, this is in my public comments, so if anybody wants to see them, you can go online to see that. So 2 things I'm going to talk about tonight. One is you may well be aware or not aware that you city council members are on the board of the Cupertino Facilities Corporation that has issued debt. So you need to have annual board meetings. Hasn't happened in a long time. Don't think maybe since 2020. We're currently deficient in at least 2 ways. One is at the time of the refi, and this is here in my notes, the corporation had lost its tax-exempt status, and that was in 2018. So by 2020, we had been out of compliance for 2 years, and it did not get resolved. Furthermore, the city's annual report, which is referred to as ACFR, the annual comprehensive financial report, it's kind of like an annual report for a corporation, but it's a city one, is late. And this document here is on the EMA website, which is where information about municipal bonds are kept. The next thing is I'm going to talk about, which you've heard me talk about before, is the below market rate fund and affordable housing fund. This is where developers pay a fee, and that fee goes to mitigate affordable housing and unfortunately that fund has been used for things that it shouldn't be. I also want to have a big thank you. The whole community should thank Councilmember Kitty Moore, because without her, we would not have had the line item of where accounts are being paid out of. So how did I know that something was fishy? It was because there were charges for litigation that had been taken out of our below market rate housing fund that are paid in good faith by developers. So I want to take your attention to a chart that I gave you, and it kind of shows efficiency, what I would call efficiency of the fund. When the two lines are together, that means that our cost of administration is almost equal to the other expenses of what we're doing in the fund. We're spending way too much money on staff and administration to get stuff done. By contrast, I've included Palo Alto's data. They're spending maybe upwards of maybe 40,000 managing their fund, doing a lot of great work. We're at around 400,000. That's wrong. Fix it. Have a meeting. Let's have a study session and fix it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda. Next, we have Ed P. Welcome, Ed. Okay, I no longer see Ed P, so we will move to the people that we have requesting to speak virtually. First person is San R. Our only person is San R. Welcome, San.
Good evening, Mayor Sheila and City Council. I wish to bring to your attention another situation of a homeless person that is now encamped by the perimeter of Homestead High School, as well as the bridge that connects between Cupertino and Homestead High School. This situation has now existed for several months, and it is becoming a serious threat to the hundreds, if not thousands, of students as well as family members that have to drop children off to Homestead High School and come back over the bridge, as well as walk the perimeter to school. The area where the homeless person is situated is on Cupertino City property per my understanding, and I would request city staff to please inspect and confirm and verify the same. The area where the homeless person is situated is not hygienic. It smells of urine, and there is evidence of needles around in that area. This is a serious concern given its proximity to hundreds of high school students around Homestead High. In addition, there have been situations where the person has been asleep or passed out for over 24 hours at a stretch, requiring the local community to call in a welfare check on the homeless person. All of this happening in the proximity of school students attending Homestead High is a traumatic experience for our school children. As you know, concerns have been raised about similar encampments by Target. And now on the other side of Target, we have another beginnings of an encampment or signs of that. It is not acceptable to point to the county and point to the laws of the state. We need you to do more. We need you to please work with county authorities to find the space in county shelters and in a humane way to relocate these homeless encampments out of the city of Cupertino and clean up this place so that students going to Homestead High School and their family is not subjected to having to see and experience this on a daily basis. It also affects a number of people that use the bridge and go for hikes and walks in the area. I want to move on to a different topic. I do want to request that you please not start the council meetings at 5:15. These study sessions seem to be a new trend for topics that are really critical to residents, and to see these topics being rushed through in an hour and 30 minutes does no justice to the topic. It also makes it difficult for your stakeholders to engage. 5:15 is way too early for stakeholders such as residents to participate as well as working council members. I would request that you please consider going back to the standard practice of 6:45 p.m. for council meetings and use the 5:15 only for closed sessions. And finally,
Thank you, Sam. That is your time. Mayor, no additional speakers for this item.
Okay, so that's the end of the oral communication section, and thank you to all those who participated with your comments this evening.
So, Mayor, can I believe we can make short requests to staff in responding to public comments. That's in our council procedures manual too.
Is this the time to do it, Mr. City Attorney?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Could you repeat your question, Councilmember Chow?
In per council procedures manual, the council members can, I think there was a list of 4 things that we can do at the end of public comments. That's what I'm requesting to speak on.
Yeah, so your brief questions or comments regarding public comments are permissible under the Brown Act.
Great. So I think we have heard about this this board that we are supposed to be on, and we have been late in payment, and if we can get a staff report on that to clarify would be great, since this has been brought up a few times. And also other, I think we, as pointed out, we should look seriously into our efficiency in terms of city staff time compared with Palo Alto, for example. So that's on agenda, either a memo or agenda request, since we are in the middle of cutting budget. Thank you. And also another the matter mentioned by Sentash, a memo from staff will be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Did you have a comment to Councilmember Moore?
Well, a question actually. Since we are apparently the board, what is our ability to call that meeting? May I ask? We're supposed to have an annual meeting, I believe. How do we make that happen?
My understanding is that the most recent resolution governing annual meetings schedules that meeting in November. So that is that's my understanding of the plan moving forward.
Thank you. Okay, so that's that ends the oral communications section of the agenda. Moving on to the consent calendar. Are there any items that have been pulled, Madam City Manager? Do you know?
No items.
No items pulled on the consent calendar. Excellent. Okay. Should we get public comments for consent items? Okay, so this is the time for public comments on items that are on the consent calendar.
Mayor, I have one request to speak card from Jennifer Griffin on number 5.
On number 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, City Council. You know, I apologize. I still get completely confused about how we're speaking on items on this. So at this point, I'm just, what am I supposed to do about 5? Are we doing this at the end?
You can speak. You can speak to it now.
Oh, okay, because it hasn't been pulled. Oh, okay.
Right.
I'm sorry. You'd think I'd get this after. Okay. So my concern with number 5 is, you know, Placework has been doing a good job, and we're slugging our way through the housing element. But I did hear recently, within 2 days, that the city of Portola Valley had their housing element decertified by HCD. They were certified, I think, in January, and they have spent a great deal of money. And for some strange reason, HCD threatened them with letters, and then they decertified them 2 days ago. We haven't even been certified by HCD, and I'm beginning to be really concerned that even if we do get certification, I mean, they have just been beating on us and saying bad things about Cupertino. We have the Apple problem. The state's been mean to us and Apple. And I'm really scared now that even if we're trying really hard to do what HCD wants, they're going to pull our certification and persecute us further. I really, we know the RHNA numbers are bad, so I have my doubts about this, but every other city in California is stuck in this mess. Only 40% of all the cities in the state have been certified. And to have HCD send threatening letters like they have been to the city of Portola Valley, my sister-in-law lived there as a child, I am very, very concerned that the cities are being used and abused by an out-of-control state entity. No one is controlling HCD. They have become the infant terrible. They are abusing cities. They're saying bad things about the good name of cities. And a lot of people, I mean, my God, the last 2 years has been involved with the public going to housing element. And this is like the 4th housing element I've been through the city since 2005. We've never had one like this. We are never going to get the numbers that HCD has lumped on top of us. We're like a hamster running in the wheel. And now that that HCD has been so mean to the city of Portola Valley, I think they're just going to take it out on us again. It's very terrifying. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Mayor, no further requests to speak on this consent calendar.
Okay. So let's get a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Great. Let's vote on the consent calendar by lights, please.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, we are moving on to the public hearings. And should we do the ex parte disclosures before we start?
I think you should probably introduce the item first, Mayor.
Okay, that's a good idea. So we have public hearings scheduled for item number 7, which is an amendment to a development agreement for the Cupertino Village Boutique Hotel project from 5 to 8 years and associated environmental review. Application numbers DA-2023-002. Applicants are Kimco, Sunil Plaha. The location is 10801 and 10805 North Wolf Road. The APN is 316-45-017 and 316-05056. And we will start with the ex parte disclosures. Any ex parte disclosures from council? Vice Mayor Fruin.
Yes, I've had a conversation with Messrs. Plaha and Strauss.
Thank you. Councilmember Way.
Yes, I also want to declare expectation conversation with the applicants.
Councilmember Moore.
Out of an abundance of caution, I spoke with Michael Strauss in 2019 when I was on the Planning Commission, and you had another person with you, and we toured the site at that time. Thank you.
Okay, and I too want to disclose an ex parte communication with the two applicants on Zoom a couple of days ago. Okay.
If we are disclosing conversation that far back, and this year I didn't have a conversation with the applicant. I think I might have the last time it was on the council agenda. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's open the public hearing.
Mayor, would you like to take a presentation from staff?
Yes.
Go ahead, and Ben and John.
John Martyr, Senior Planner with Community Development. I'll just jump right in. Good evening, everybody on council as well as the community of Cupertino at large. I'll be presenting this item as well as the next item as well regarding the first of 2 development agreement amendments for hotels that have been approved within the last 5 years. We can show there we go. Okay, I'll keep talking. So a little bit of background on this application, as Councilmember Moore had alluded to. This was approved. She had spoken to someone probably back in 2019 when this was approved and when she was on the Planning Commission. This is a location that is currently occupied by two separate buildings. One is occupied currently by the Duke of Edinburgh. The other is X-Bank that is now has been unoccupied for at least 6 or 7 years. The City Council had approved with the general plan amendment, as well as the development permit, use permit, and architectural site approval, as well as this development agreement for a 185-room hotel on this site. On August 20th, 2019, the City Council conducted a second reading to adopt the development agreement ordinance number 19-2186. The effective date of this ordinance was November 19th, 2019, and the 5-year term of this development agreement ends in 2019-2024. What this development agreement does is it vests development standards as of the effective date of that development agreement, with the exception that all building codes, as they are updated every 3 years, this development would be subject to that. The only thing that so moving on to the meat of the discussion of the development agreement is the community benefits. This development was subject to community benefit funding, which came out to approximately $10,000 a room, or $1.8 million. Further was dedicated yearly amount to transportation demand management, TDM, a yearly submission of payments for the transportation demand management program. And also join the Transportation Management Association if one was ever formed. Free shuttle service for residents and guests of the hotel to points of destination that include airports and employment centers.
So I'm sharing my screen. If is this the correct presentation?
No, it's the correct presentation, but the wrong slide.
Just if you want to guide me to which page.
So. On the next slide. There we go.
Oh, oops, sorry. This one.
I don't know. Okay. So, also free meeting rooms for people in the city conducting business. Reduced rates for dignitaries coming to of up to 10% for those coming to the city for business. City business, that is. Internships and preferential hiring for Cupertino residents, and internships are unpaid internships for those that are going to school locally, and maintaining a minimum hotel standard, which is through upper upscale according to the Smith travel rating system. So the request to amend the development agreement is to extend the term of the agreement to the 8th anniversary of the effective date of that agreement, so essentially to November 19, 2027. In the event the developer submits for a building permit for the core and shell of the hotel within 3 years of the effective date of the First Amendment, the term of the agreement is automatically extended to 2 additional years for a total of 5 years until November 19, 2029. If a certificate of occupancy for the project is issued within 5 years of the effective date of the First Amendment, April 16th, which is presumably the date of the second reading of the ordinance, the developer shall be relieved of its obligations to make further community management funding payments. And any proposed revisions to the amount of the indoor parking layout are treated as administrative project amendments and not subject to amendment to this agreement. Currently, only minor changes to the parking standards are considered administrative. Anything more than minor would have to go back through the process. And again, with this request are a lot of carrots to encourage the development of the hotel to commence what the city feels is important transit-oriented tax benefits to the city, as well as other one-time mitigation fee payments. This item was heard on recommendation at the Planning Commission on March 12, 2024. The Commission recommended a 4-0 with Commissioner Matipatla absence to adopt the proposed amendments to the development agreement, subject to the following modification: that the development agreement is to require that the project comply with the bird safe and dark sky ordinance. Cupertino Municipal Code, Chapter 19102, glass and lighting standards. Again, as you recall, development standards, zoning standards don't apply to new. Updated zoning standards don't apply to the project after the development agreement was initiated. So this would be one zoning standard that's pulled out and placed back in there, and staff in its staff report is incorporated the Planning Commission's recommendation into the draft amendment. The environmental assessment is in conformance. The changes aren't substantive to the project. In fact, there's no physical changes to the project at all as proposed by this amendment. Therefore, it's in conformance with the MND that was approved and subject to CEQA and exempt under CEQA guidelines section 15162. Next, please. And the recommended actions that staff recommends the City Council conduct a public hearing and conduct the first reading of the ordinance. Number one, find the amendment to the existing development agreement consistent with the project's mitigated negative declaration, and adopt the ordinance to amend the existing development agreement. Next slide. And next steps is second reading is tentatively scheduled for April 16th, 2024. And that concludes my presentation. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
Would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Thank you very much. One moment. Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, council members, staff, and members of the public, my name is Michael Strauss. I am Vice President of Development for Kimco. Kimco Realty is the owner of the Cupertino Village Shopping Center. I have a few slides that I did want to run through. A very good and valued friend counseled me this evening that less is more, quoting the esteemed architect Mies van der Rohe. So I will keep it brief, but I do want to hit some high points for those maybe not familiar with the project. The staff, Mr. Martir went through the history of the of this project. We've been working on it for a long time. I personally have been working on this project for quite a long time, since the beginning of 2017 when I joined Kimco. As Mr. Martir mentioned, the development agreement was signed in 2019, which was already a long way into the project. We were at that point. We were launched right into the project and were poised to advance the project and launch directly into the detailed construction drawings and design process. And then the pandemic hit, which is the reason why we are here asking for more time on the development agreement. Kimco has been part of this community for quite a long time. We purchased the shopping center back in 2005 and have added several new buildings in starting in 2014 through 2017, including a new parking garage, and continue to make investments across the shopping center, including some exciting investments that we expect to make this year. The value proposition, the reason for the proposal was back in 2017 through 2019 and remains true today, that the city of Cupertino needs hotel rooms at a higher level of service than the mostly select service offerings that are available in the community and in the city today. With our location for this hotel site directly across North Wolf Road from Apple Park, we think this is an ideal place to add this element that is currently lacking in the marketplace. We want to try to get people to stay in Cupertino, have the TOT tax come to Cupertino, and bring the life and vitality that visitors to this community can bring. We believe that the 3 years to 5 years, depending on how it's counted, but that the proposed additional term of this development agreement will be sufficient to get our project and the one like our project moving, which we think will be wonderful for the community and a big boost to our property and the shopping center as well as those most closely located around us. Mr. Martir went through the general facts of the hotel. I would just note that it is 185 rooms. We have about 5,500 square feet of meeting space proposed, a 3-meal restaurant, which is important for the upper upscale designation, and also a rooftop lounge that we're really excited about delivering to this community. Would also note that as part of our general plan amendment, all we needed from the general plan amendment back in 2017 through 2019 was the allocation of hotel rooms. We were otherwise completely 100% compliant with all of the development standards, including the 45-degree line that is in the code for a 60-foot setback to allow a 60-foot height. Our accessibility to Apple Park and the TDM measures will limit the impacts from traffic. There's no school impact. The TOT tax generation will be significant, which will be a wonderful add to support the services to the members of the community, and with very, very little displacement from affected businesses. Just one who we remain in regular and very close touch with. The development agreement, all of the community benefits that were mentioned by Mr. Martir are still in place. There are no proposed changes to the meat of the development agreement, including the community benefits. We're proud to keep these as part of our application. Just some pretty pictures. We remain thrilled with the architecture and can't wait to be in a position to move forward. To do that will require an extension of the development agreement, and we appreciate the consideration of this council this evening. Mr. Plaha, my colleague from Kimco, and our land use attorney, Matthew Vicek from Rubin, Junius and Rose, are here as well, and we're happy to entertain any questions that any of the members of the council may have. And my last comment I would make is that, as Mr. Martir mentioned, we were approached about agreeing to be bound by the bird safe and dark skies ordinances, and we understand that's important to this community, and we are willing to agree to that stipulation, and again want to do the right thing for this community, and we think that this project is exactly that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. This is the time for council to ask questions of the applicant or staff. 3 minutes each, please, and we can start with Vice Mayor Fruin.
Thank you again for the meeting earlier. I hope that you could perhaps opine a little bit on, to the extent that you feel it appropriate, on the relationship that you have with the Duke of Edinburgh and what you think their future might be. I know that'll be of concern to some people in the community.
Sure, Mr. Vice Mayor. I appreciate the question. The Duke of Edinburgh pub has been at the shopping center for quite a long time. We during our 2017 through 2019 effort, we engaged in serious discussions that were fruitful and led to a lease to relocate the Duke of Edinburgh. That lease was terminated by the tenant during COVID. We continue to be in touch. Mr. Plaha, who's here with me this evening, and I had an impromptu meeting and just ran into one of the owners just a couple of weeks ago. Our assumption and what we have been told is that when we're ready to move the hotel forward, there are no current plans to relocate the restaurant within the shopping center, but are always open to additional conversations.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councilmember Chow, 3 minutes, please.
Hi, welcome. And thank you very much for agreeing to comply with the bird safe and dark sky ordinance. You didn't have to, so really thank you. And thank you for continuing to offer the community benefits that you had generously offered last time. And really looking forward for this project to be successful. My question is, what's the timeline you have in mind for construction?
Thank you, Councilmember Chow. Our timeline is as soon as we can possibly do it. We've had multiple starts to what we had hoped would turn into a project to move forward. During the pandemic, the hotel market throughout Silicon Valley has, particularly for those hotels focused on business travel, has been, shall we say, the return from COVID has been sluggish. So we continue to engage with hotel professionals, with potential flags, with potential joint venture partners. We continue to invest in the prepayments of the community benefit fees, as Mr. Martir mentioned, and so we're absolutely committed to moving forward. To answer your question, our timeline is as soon as we can possibly do so. We are sufficiently motivated and just need to see some green shoots from the business community and from the region nearby travel in order to try to get this going. But
so
we're as soon as we possibly can. We want to move forward.
The economic condition is still not ideal right now.
For the project that we're proposing, it's not ready just yet. Our hope is that certainly within the period of this extension, the development agreement, that we will move forward, and we fully intend to move forward.
Thank you.
Councilmember Moore and then Councilmember Wei. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. This question for staff. So there's the offering of including the bird safe and dark skies element. So what year of, I don't know how to word this, of the municipal code is applicable to this project when it got approved?
2019.
Okay, so we've had a number of things updated since then. Can you think of any part to the municipal code which, for instance, the building code has been updated? Would they be under whatever building code was from 2019?
So the building code relies on the California Building Code, which is based on the International Building Code. So that does not apply to this. So they are still subject to any revisions. I believe it's every 3 years that it gets revised. So they're still subject to those health and safety measures as well.
Okay, thank you. With regards to the art or art in lieu of, would you happen to know what year that changed? I think it was something in 2018. I'm not entirely sure.
The project is conditioned, and I believe the art in lieu policy, the art in lieu condition that was approved in 2019 is similar to what's is currently approved right now. So they would have to approve the 1% of the project.
Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure that we're not missing out on anything important. Was there any other ordinance change that you can think of that we might want to consider applying?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wei, 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mayor Mohan. So first, thank you for spending the time, extra time to go over with individual council members. It's very helpful, and because I wasn't there in 2019, so it's really good to learn from it. So one thing to follow up Vice Mayor Fruman's question, the Duke of Edinburgh, sounds like they're the one that's not sure, and if they really want to continue, it's most likely that you will have a space for them. Not guaranteed, but you're willing to work out with them.
Thank you, Councilmember Way. I feel uncomfortable commenting about their plans. I would just note that we always, as a practice, try to hang on to our good tenants, especially those with long followings in the community. So certainly, we would, if approached, we would be happy to have a conversation and to see if there was a possibility and to try to work with them. So just like we would any other of our valued tenants that are valued by members of the community.
Great. So that's very good to know. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Okay. I had a question about the the amenities package, and maybe it's directed to staff as well. What changes? What are the changes that will happen as a result of not just extending it by 3 years, but what is the change to the original agreement regarding financing?
Sure. So the only major change of financing through the community benefit package is if they get certificate of occupancy within 5 years of the First Amendment of this agreement. So if they do that, then they do not have to pay the remaining balance that they have on in this case, 1.85 million. So how it's currently structured is $50,000 every year they pay into this, which they've done. They've made about $300,000 worth of payments thus far. Once they submit for building permits, they pay 25% of that remaining balance. And then once they get certificate of occupancy, they're supposed to pay the remaining balance. Now the big difference is with that remaining balance, if they get certificate of occupancy, whatever they have remaining, it's forgiven. And again, as stated in the presentation, this is an approach of having the carrot to encourage the development as quick as possible so the city can benefit from transit-oriented tax and whatnot, as well as the one-time mitigation fees that they have to pay into.
Okay, so the assumption is the faster they build, we lose the money, the funding that was agreed upon earlier, but we make it up in other ways, the TO, transient occupancy tax, and property tax, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I see, Councilmember Chow.
Sorry, I forgot to say I reserved my
1 minute,
time.
please.
Yeah, I think I have about 1 minute. So, what's the estimated annual transient occupancy tax for this project?
The new figures are about 1.2 million a year.
Okay, so in the first year, likely that would compensate already for the forgiven fees, right?
Forecasted, yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember, I would just note that was the bottom end of the range that came from the study that the city commissioned in 2017. Our expectation is that it would be that's a conservative number.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions from council, so let's open it up to the public.
Yes, Mayor, I have 3 requests to speak within Community Hall, and I see no hands currently raised on Zoom. We have Jennifer Griffin, followed by Lisa Warren, followed by Rhoda Fry.
Okay, so 3 minutes to each of the members of the public.
Welcome, Jennifer.
Good evening, City Council. I have followed this project since 2017. It's a quality project. There have been many, many hours put in to make it turn out to be a beautiful high-end hotel that we are proud to have across the street from formerly HP and now Apple Campus 2. The Duke of Edinburgh is a revered part of Cupertino. My husband's brothers and stepbrothers come back to the area and always go back to the Duke of Edinburgh. And the old story at Hewlett-Packard, I believe that it was off-site meetings at the D room, if I remember correctly. The Duke room. So yes, I'm sorry to hear that maybe the owner of the Duke may not want to continue, but I'm hoping and I'm glad that Kimco has a place for them potentially. I'm very proud of this hotel. This is something that we would see in Menlo Park, by Stanford, in Union Square, in San Francisco. the high end. I think that it is appropriate to have this next to Apple. We have a lot of people coming into Cupertino. There are many tourists. Tantau is 24/7 tourists. They're coming in, being photographed everywhere around any Apple building. We see them constantly. It's a delight. I mean, we see people from other countries coming in. Apple is the draw. And I'm glad to have something like this hotel there to welcome tourists and travelers. It appears that there's going to be a 3-course restaurant there. I look forward to that. We need to have family sit-down restaurants where you can go with your family and have a meal. We've lost a lot of that in Cupertino, and I'm very, very excited about the amenities that this hotel will have. There's been a great deal of treatment in terms of the style, very, very high end. The fact that I looked at the drawings again with John several weeks ago, and they've held up for 5 to 7 years. They're gorgeous. That is quality design. Something that is not out of, I don't know, something that looks bad after 5 years is poor design. This is quality. It will be there for a long period of time. And I highly recommend that you all give them the extra time. And I appreciate Kimco is a long-term member of this community, and I hope they are around for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next we have Lisa Warren, followed by Rhoda Fry, followed by Luisa Dottie.
Hello. So I don't know if you all noticed, but Michael's wearing some running shoes that makes it look like he's ready to get off and running as soon as he can, right? So I attended the Planning Commission meeting, and they had a good deliberation, and I agreed with their decision. I hope you do as well. And I can tell you that the members of the public at that meeting were all in favor of this hotel as long as the bird safe and dark sky ordinance were followed. And I made a comment at the time that Kimco and Michael are one of the better developers in the city and area, and I knew they would accept the request regardless of whether they had to or not, and he's proven me correct, and I'm happy about that. I guess that's really all I need to say. Just I hope you agree with the Planning Commission. They deliberated, they all agreed, aside from the missing member. And to save time on number 8, I just want to say I'm grateful that both hotels in this agenda tonight have agreed to do bird safe and dark sky, and that they respect the community enough to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next we have Rhoda Fry, followed by Luisa Dottie. Welcome, Rhoda.
Hello, good evening. My comments apply to both hotels. Let's get them built, get that TOT going, and I think it's a no-brainer. Really appreciate again going with the current building codes, dark skies, birds. This is in sharp contrast to the 50 some odd acres that we have at Velco, where the developer has asked to go intends to go with the 2016 building codes and no dark skies and birds. So I hope that the developers at Velco are listening. And but I don't want to take the shine off of this. This is really great news. I'd also like to ask the hotels, and I thought about this as I was sitting here, so I didn't get to completely think up my idea, but to see if there's a way that we can capture sales tax for goods, materials that are being used on these projects as they come in, because basically anytime you spend $100 on a good, $1 comes to Cupertino. And I don't remember what bridge it was. It might have been the bridge that goes to San Rafael. But anyway, when they built it was kind of interesting. The developer actually kind of created a corporation of their own at that address, so that products we're able to, products delivered to that project, we're able to capture. So you deliver, lumber, steel, whatever, all of that was able to capture the sales tax on those goods. Hey, there's bed companies in Cupertino. So anyway, so maybe that's something that we can think about. It doesn't keep this thing from moving forward, but I would love to get as much sales tax as we can coming into Cupertino, because it really doesn't matter where you spend your sales tax, as long as you spend it here in Cupertino. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda. And next we have Louise Sadati. Welcome, Louise.
Good evening again. So I want to say that I agree with Jennifer Griffin, Lisa Warren, and Rhoda Fry in supporting the Kimco project. I think with the budget problems that we're having, anything that we can do to help support businesses is wonderful, because that will, as the three of them said, generate taxes for the city. I would like to say that that one speaker spoke against development in the 50-acre empty lot that has been empty for 10 years. And I think instead of speaking negatively about the owner, we need to work forward. It's been 10 years that the development has been blocked, and we need to work with the owner to make progress happen so that we don't have a 10-acre, 50-acre empty lot, which, if it had been allowed to develop without being stymied before, would have generated a lot of taxes for us and it really helped with our situation. So there you have it. I really want to support businesses, and especially the Kimco and the two projects that are being discussed tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. And we have one individual requesting to speak virtually, San R. Welcome, San.
Evening, City Council. I'd like to also express my support for Kimco at the facility that they're requesting permit extensions on. I have been a user of that retail shopping center for over 25 years as an ex-Hewlett Packard employee, and spent many daily lunch out there in that shopping center. I've seen it transfer many operators, and I have to say the condition of that shopping center is probably the best it's been in over 25 years, thanks to Kimco. I continue to use that shopping center for number of businesses, particularly restaurants out there, and it is a thriving shopping center. We need to do more business with Kimco in the city. Kimco is a specialty retail operator, and we have a shortage of retail in the city. And so I hope, in addition to flawlessly and smoothly permitting Kimco to move forward with this permit extension, you will also take this opportunity to increase the city's collaboration with Kimco and look at ways that they can participate more fully in Cupertino in operating or procuring retail shopping centers. The city is lacking specialty retail operators. Retail is a dying asset class, and Kimco is particularly skilled at it. So let me express my support for this. Kimco hopefully will also use this opportunity to build more relationships with the city's economic development and find ways to extend into other retail centers that the city is currently in need of. Thank you.
Thank you, San. Mayor, no further speakers for this item.
Okay, if the applicant wants to come back for a minute or two, I'd be happy to welcome you.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no further comments, but we welcome any additional questions that may have come up.
Okay. Good for now. We may call you back later. Okay, so that's the end. We are closing the public hearing to the public. And let's bring it back to council for a motion. Is there a motion? Councilmember Moore, did you have a comment or a motion?
Motion. The City Council conduct the public hearing and conduct the first reading of Ordinance 24-2255 entitled Approving an Amendment to a Development Agreement for the Cupertino Village Boutique Hotel with the addition of the Bird Safe Dark Skies Ordinance, Cupertino Municipal Code 19.102, the glass and lighting standards. that we find the amendment to the existing development agreement consistent with the project's mitigated negative declaration, and adopt the ordinance to amend the existing development agreement.
Second. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Great. So we have a motion and a second, and let's discuss it if we need to. 3 minutes per council member. Do we have any? Councilmember Moore.
Thank you. So I saw this project when I was on the Planning Commission, and one thing that I really noted was that you were following everything within the general plan, the setbacks, the height, everything, and even at that time, you had, I believe, agreed with having the fridding on the windows to protect the birds, and I think it's really important because you're sitting across from like 176 acres of it's a nature park with an exciting building in it, but there's a lot of bird life out there, and I'm glad that you're protecting them, especially since you have those full-grown trees, which you're going to be keeping in front of the building. So thank you. I hope you do consider making sure you've got a southwest top deck, so you've got the views of the hills there. I think it would be absolutely fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Chow, 3 minutes, please.
Second everything Councilmember Moore said. I remember those big trees you did preserve in your plan, and I didn't meet with you because I thought, I didn't really have anything to ask, and this was really well-designed project, and look forward to the rooftop deck that we can all go and look out on the hill on. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? I just wanted to make one comment, and thank you to the applicant for being very forthcoming in my meeting with them a couple of days ago. My question too was about the Duke of Edinburgh. It's a long-standing sort of iconic restaurant/bar in Cupertino, and I asked the question: is your offer to relocate them still open? And you said yes. Did I understand you right? You can just wave or go ahead. Please come up.
It depends if we have space available, but certainly we would entertain a conversation and do our best. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Seeing no other comments, we have a motion, we have a second, so let's vote by lights.
The motion carries unanimously.
Great. Thank you.
Mayor, before we go to the next step, item, can I request a recess?
Okay, let's take a 5-minute recess.
Thank you.
Let's get back here at 8 p.m. Item number 8. Item number 8 is, can we get some silence, please?
You want to bang your gavel?
Should I? Well, they'll think it's closed. And then they'll all walk away. Okay, item number 8. Amendment to a development agreement, DA-T2018-01, for the Dianza Hotel project from 5 years to 8 years and associated environmental review. Application numbers DA-T2023-003. Applicants are Dianza Properties, John Vidovich. Location 10931 North Dianza Boulevard, and the APN is 326-10-061. Okay, so let's start with the ex parte disclosures. Does anyone have ex parte disclosures to communicate? Vice Mayor Fruin.
Yes, I've had a number of conversations with Claudio Bono, representative for John Vidovich.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Moore.
I spoke briefly with the hotel manager, Claudio Bono, this evening.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, I think that's the end of the ex parte disclosures. Public hearing is open, and we will go with the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. This is not a deja vu, so we're going to do this one more time. However, we're going to try to keep the presentations similar, but also to the point that's applicable to the Enza Hotel. We intentionally put the two hotel DAs together on the same agenda so that it could be streamlined and it become more efficient. Thank you, and John, take it away.
Thank you, City Manager. Yes. But this time you actually get to see my presentation, and thank you to the TV crew for helping out in an expeditious matter. John Martier, Senior Planner, Community Development, and again, as the Mayor had read out. Just quickly through the background of the project, this is currently a Goodyear Tires site that is occupied by Goodyear Tires currently as well. March 3rd, 2020, City Council approved the 155-room hotel on the site, which included general plan amendment, development permit, etc. On April 21st, City Council conducted a second reading to adopt the development agreement with the effective date of that evening and with the term ending April 21st, 2025. And again, just like the other development agreement, the zoning standards are vested as of the effective date, with the exception that building codes are updated, similar to the last development agreement as well. I'll go over this slide really briefly as well. Community amenity funding is $500,000 with $50,000 annual payments. Shuttle service for the community at a reduced rate, but hotel guest free, to employment centers as well as points of travel such as airports and Caltrain stations. Meeting rooms capped at 12 times a year for city business as well as school district business. A rooftop amenity, which is unlike the rooftop amenity of the prior hotel, this one is actually more similar to a meeting room or a conference center or a full service restaurant that has operating hours up until 10 p.m. And again, just like the last hotel, minimum hotel, so a minimal hotel standard as upper upscale. The request is, I'll just again go through this exactly the same as the last development agreement. Planning Commission, again on March 12th, 2024, recommended 4-0 with Madi Potlat absent, that Council adopt the proposed amendments to the development agreement with the following modification, that the development agreement to require that the project comply with bird safe dark sky ordinance. The environmental assessment is in conformance with we found it to be in conformance with the original mitigated negative declaration. Subject to an exemption because of this under SEQA guidelines section 15162. Staff recommends that the City Council conduct a public hearing and conduct the first reading of the ordinance, find the amendment to the existing development agreement consistent with the project's MND, as well as adopt the ordinance to amend the existing development agreement. Next step is second reading is tentatively scheduled for April 16th of this year. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Good evening, Mayor Mohan, Vice Mayor Fruin, Council Member Chow, Moore, Wei, City Manager, City Attorney, staff, and Madam Clerk. Just that alone takes me 30 seconds. I'm just going to go ahead and do it as fast as I can. Claudio Bono here, Cupertino resident. This month actually is my 10th year as Hotel General Manager of the Cupertino Hotel. 10 year in Cupertino. I'm a proud Cupertino resident. I wear a lot of hats. And tonight I'm only going to be representing John Vidovich, the Enza Properties, and wear a second hat as a city Cupertino resident. So I'm the operator, and thank you staff for this wonderful presentation and conformity with the mitigated negative declaration. Thank you, John. So it does not require any further environmental review under CEQA guidelines either. So no substantial changes in circumstances. So I recommend City Council to find the amendment consistent with the project mitigated negative declaration and approve the amendment to the existing development. I have to say that Kimco is nice. They know that I'm going to do better occupancy than they are. So I am definitely going to say that I'm definitely looking forward to bring bring more TOT taxes. You see, it's already starting. It's a little war. So at the end of the day, we want to build. We want to bring Cupertino a wonderful place where not only our guests can enjoy our city, but also spend their money in that plaza. That hotel will also help generate revenue for the Safeway, the Kinko's, and all the golf store. I can never go. I do shop there, but I never remember their name. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, we're also moving forward with the bird safe and dark sky ordinance. Anything we can do to protect the birds, we're in. So, and last but not least, yeah, there we go. I just wanted to look pretty on TV and say hi to you all. It's a no-brainer. And so I'm here if you have any questions. But I look forward as a resident to see this through. It's going to be a wonderful rooftop that we all here in Cupertino, including residents, will be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudio.
My pleasure.
Bringing it back to the council for questions to the staff or to the applicant. 2 minutes each, please. And any lights? I'm not. Vice Mayor Fruin.
Just for the sake of clarity, this development agreement is substantially the same in terms as the one that we just ratified with Kimco, yes?
Yes, the amendments are identical.
Got it, including the bird safe and dark skies ordinance compliance.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think we've heard from staff, we've heard from the applicant. There's no substantial difference between the earlier item on the agenda. And, so we will move fast, but we'll go to Councilmember Moore before we take the next step.
I just want, thank you through the mayor, I just want to clarify, is the height and setback compliant with the general plan for the De Anza Hotel?
So the general plan amendments, unlike the prior hotel, they submitted a request and were approved for amendments to the height as well as setbacks in hotel rooms. So there are three requests. There are three general plan amendments that were part of it.
Through the mayor, would you let us know what the three amendments were?
Sure. So the first amendment was for hotel rooms. As you're aware, if the community is not aware, the general plan runs on an allocation system for square footage for certain types of developments, and for hotels on a hotel room count. At the time of both hotels entitlements, the general plan was out of allocation, so this was so in both cases. In this case, there was a need for 155 rooms to be reallocated to this site. So that was general plan amendment 1. The second was for height. The height limit in this area is 45 feet. They are approximately slightly over 80 feet, I believe, if you count the rooftop restaurant. And the slope line setback along major corridors is at a 1-to-1 angle from the curb line of the street. In this case, North De Anza Boulevard. They are within that 45-degree angle. So. That counts as setback, Councilmember Moore.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Councilmember Chow, you had a question for staff or applicant?
So, I guess, thank you for coming. Yeah, I think this was the very first hotel project that I approved on the council. At the time, we were happy to support it, but then later on, when Kinko proposed their project, I remember there were some community members who brought up the idea that we were not treating the two hotels equitably, because Kinko had to pay actually more in community amenity funding versus that the De Anza Hotel is paying. So could we clarify that? It's just for the record, so we know that what difference is there. I don't exactly remember. Now I read the staff report. It's 500,000 in one and 1.2 million the other.
Sure. So Kimco was entitled first in 2019, with this one being entitled in 2020. So the community amenity benefit payment was $10,000 a room for Kimco. at 1.85 million. This one was a fee of 500,000 that was negotiated with the developer by council at the time.
So the staff negotiated a better deal with in 2022.
I would say council negotiated that deal, which gave direction. But
we are usually not directly involved.
Well, I think the applicant at the time mentioned that the big difference was a rooftop amenity, not just the addition of the rooftop restaurant, but it's the obligation to continue the operations of a restaurant on the rooftop as well as balancing out the fee.
Okay, so my time is up. But as of right now, as long as it's developed within, I think, 5 years, both fees are waived. So they are equal now if they develop in 5 years.
Okay, let's go to public comments. Mr. Bono, we may have you back later, but for now you can take a seat.
Yes, Mayor, I have 2 requests to speak from Community Hall, Jennifer Griffin and Rhoda Fry, and currently no hands raised virtually.
Okay, so each individual gets 3 minutes to speak.
Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, City Council. This is definitely hotel night, and the TOT who will win. I had followed this hotel from the inception many years ago, and then I met with John Martyr recently, and we went over the plans of the hotel again, and it is a very striking quality construction. It looks like an Eichler building, and it looks like something that should be in Cupertino. Very, very high end, very elegant, and I'm very, very pleased that nothing has changed in this project. We went over again the nice attention to the design into the first and second story. I think that it's handled very, very well, particularly for the prominent location it is in Cupertino. The crossroads area of Cupertino has been a very historic part of Cupertino since the beginning of the city, and I'm really glad that this project is going to be built along De Anza Boulevard. I'm also pleased that the shopping center behind it, as it was mentioned, will benefit. That is a lovely shopping center. My grandmother used to shop there when I was a kid, and she lived in Cupertino. And I'm very, very pleased with the hotel, and I do hope that it will come to fruition very, very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next we have Rhoda Fry. Welcome, Rhoda.
Let's build it. Let's get that TOT going. And I did get a little bit more information about potentially being able to capture sales tax from goods being purchased for the construction. It sounds like if the developer had their location in Cupertino, that we might be able to capture those dollars. That potentially would be something that would need to be in the development agreement, or not necessarily, because it could be done by goodwill by either builder. There potentially is another benefit to the builder by being located in Cupertino, because our taxes are lower here than 4 other communities within Santa Clara County. Our taxes are lower than San Mateo County, and our taxes are lower than Alameda County. Alameda is actually upwards of 10%. So I'm hoping that maybe the folks in the planning development department and the city can figure out all the ins and outs of the Bradley Burns tax. I know we don't have a user. What is it called? The user. Oh, come on, Mr. Martiri. It's the UUT was called. It was come on. A utility? No, not a utility. Okay, it's a tongue twister. The UUT. We were talking about doing it, but we didn't. But anyway, we don't have a user's tax, whatever it is. We don't have it, so I'm not even going to say what it is. Okay, how about that? But we do have the Bradley Burns. We do have pools. The pools are close to, if you buy in Santa Clara County. But please, let's all work together and see what we can do to capture as many sales tax dollars because they got to pay. They all got to pay sales tax, so they might as well do it here, and it's going to be more economical to do it here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda. Mayor, no additional requests to speak for this item.
Okay. So, Mr. Bono, if you want to make a statement for 2 minutes, I will welcome you.
I'll just take this moment to thank everybody who came specifically just for me, right here. So, thank you. No, I'm here if you have any more questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the public hearing is closed for sake of discussion. Can we go with the motion? Councilmember Chow, you had your light on first.
I can move for the staff recommendation. I can move for the staff recommendation, but I do have a couple of questions. Yeah.
Okay, we can come back to you. Is there a second?
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 But I do want to have a clarifying question. Do we need to have the addition of the Bird Safe Dark Skies Ordinance, Cupertino Municipal Code 19.102 glass and lighting standards?
Is that?
I believe those are already in the resolution, but if you would like to emphasize that, we would appreciate that as well.
If the mover will accept that?
Yeah, sure.
And then I'll second. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Councilmember Chow, you wanted to make a comment? 2 minutes, please.
Okay. First, the same question I asked earlier. What's the timeline for construction that you have in mind? Yeah.
Well, I just want to give you a little picture.
I don't have a lot. I have a time limit.
Okay.
So short.
You just took 10 seconds away. It took me 3 years to get the aluminum coming from Ukraine all the way to the United States to actually do one, refurbish the new elevator at the Cupertino Hotel. So really it's about where do we get the goods? Because right now it's very difficult. Even if it's not about the money itself, even if we had it, it's hard to get it all the way here. So build a hotel, it's real enterprise because you may have all the money, but you don't have no goods. So it's not easy to get it all the way here. So
Great.
Our aim as a Cupertino residents to have it ASAP.
Thank you. Next question is for staff. Regarding the sales tax that might be generated by construction material that might be shipped anywhere, but then does that depend on where the development consultant is located, or could that become a Cupertino sales tax since the project is in Cupertino? How does that work?
So I'm looking into right now with the current development agreement. Section 5.6 deals with having to source the materials from the city. So I believe that's already in the development agreement.
But if the city doesn't have that material, they have to purchase it elsewhere. Could the sales tax still be attributed to the city since the project is in the city?
Yeah, we would have to look into that. I mean, we're not prepared to answer that question today, but we would have to look into that.
So maybe in the future we should consider including that in a development agreement. So now we rely on goodwill from the applicant. Okay.
Okay, seeing no other comments, we have a motion, we have a second. Let's go and vote. Go ahead and vote with lights, please. Councilmember Moore? Okay.
The motion carries unanimously.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's move on to the action calendar. This is the item for which I'm sure many of you are here for.
What gave it away?
Okay, item number 9 on the agenda. It's the Memorial Park specific plan design and the Parks and Recreation System Master Plan Initial Study / Mitigated Negative Declaration Addendum. We will go with the staff presentation.
Good
Good evening, Council. Chad Mosley, Director of Public Works. Give us just a moment to set up. And if anybody states that we didn't have public outreach, look behind us.
Mayor, may I suggest, while Public Works team is setting up their time, seeing the large volume of interest in numbers of participant, may I request maybe the city clerk or council to poll the number of public speakers that has already signed up, both in person and on Zoom, so that you have an idea how much we're looking at.
Actually, we did talk, and I don't know if the numbers have changed since we talked about 5 minutes ago.
Sorry, I don't mean to. Maybe we could request that anybody that does wish to speak either raise their hand on Zoom or submit their card at this time, just as a courtesy to give us a sense of what we're looking at. We'd appreciate that. If you've already done so, of course, thank you for doing that.
What's that? We'll just give the city clerk just a minute to get the numbers right.
Shall I announce that? Yes. So we currently have 15 individuals requesting to speak in person. We have 8 on Zoom. That brings us to approximately 69 minutes. And then there are 4 groups that are requesting 10 minutes each. So that amounts to 40 minutes. So that is about an hour and 49 minutes of public comment.
Okay, what I'd like to do, because we do have a number of speakers, is to reduce the time each one gets to speak. Let's do 90 seconds per individual speaker, which is 1 minute and 30 seconds. And if you're in a group, we'll go with 6 minutes per group. And how much will that add up to?
Let me get my calculator out.
No, it doesn't matter.
So, let's see.
90 seconds for an individual?
For 69, for 15 and 8, that's 20.
Okay.
Looks like the vice mayor is better at math than me.
53 minutes. Okay.
What was that? How much?
He says about.
Okay, 53 minutes. And then the groups will be 32?
So that's including the groups, right?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Add 6 more.
Okay, it's about an hour. Okay. All right. We're ready for the staff report.
Very good. And just to save a little bit of time, again, Chad Mosley, Public Works Director. I'm going to hand it right over to Susan Michael, our CIP Manager, to present for you.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
So tonight's action, we are asking to consider the Memorial Park specific plan and the Parks and Rec System Master Plan Initial Study Mitigated Negative Declaration Addendum for adoption. So we would like to have the specific plan design approved and the addendum adopted. So one thing we're not asking Council to decide tonight is to approve projects to design and build anything included in this conceptual design. Tonight's action is to approve the addendum to the ISMND and the specific plan. So this is also a good time to clarify what we mean when we say specific plan. Everyone generally understands what a master plan is. The dictionary defines master plan as a plan giving overall guidance. In this case, a specific plan is also a plan giving overall guidance, but we use the term specific plan instead of master plan because this is giving guidance on a specific park, not the overall system like the Parks and Rec System Master Plan. But similar to the Parks and Rec System Master Plan,
There's a full report, it's your attachment A, that gives more explanation from 2 years of design and community input, the site research analysis, as well as information about the design intent for each area of the park. Even with all that information, it's still a conceptual level plan. The specific plan sets goals and intentions for the park. When a new project like improvements to the event lawns is approved as a CIP project, then the conceptual designs from the specific plan will be reconsidered and checked for appropriateness. It's similar to how we are now using the Parks and Rec System Master Plan. So with that being said, the agenda tonight, first we'll do a little bit of background about the project itself for the specific plan. We'll review the community input process. We'll mention briefly the environmental review that took place. We'll go over the final concept plan, and we'll talk about implementation at the end. So when we started the project, the goal of the project was to revitalize Memorial Park. It was designed and built in the 70s, and much of it could use an update. We referred to the tenets, the directives in the Parks and Rec System Master Plan to set the initial goals of community gathering, civic-focused event space, diverse sports and amenities, and a deep connection to the community and to the natural landscape. We asked the community for feedback on these goals from the master plan, as well as comments on the existing amenities. So this is the result of that process. There's a full report, as I said, that includes background information on the park, information about the process, the final conceptual design, and suggestions for how it might be implemented. Tonight's presentation focuses on chapters 4 and 5. Having said that, I'm going to talk about the process. And this is a timeline that we've been using since the start of the project. It's a timeline, and it started in 2022. We, as a project team, the designers and the analysts that we worked with, we evaluated the site, did some analysis, did some research about what the existing conditions were. We also took, like I said, the directions from the Parks and Rec System Master Plan about what was important for this park, and we went out to the community. And we asked, what is important? We got some direction about what was important to the people. And from that, we developed 3 design alternatives. You'll see that on the, I can't get my mouse to work up there, design alternatives. Oops. So then we came up with 3 conceptual designs. And then we went back out for community input. So in the rounds 1 and 2 of community input, we had over 3,300 responses. So we were very lucky that way. We refined from the input from the community and the 3 concepts, we got down to 1 preferred concept. We presented that to council and commissions and the community in June of 2023. That was where the community came back and said, hey, we want you to keep that softball field. So we said, okay. We went back and revised the design to keep the softball field, and the other part of that direction was to keep as many of the amenities as possible. So we did that. We took that, we also put that back out to the community. We published it on the website, we put out social media bursts, we did everything we could to quickly get that out there and get some feedback. We got immense amount of feedback then. That was when we were also asked by the pickleball community to increase the number of courts, so we did that. So now we're at the final concept plan. We've taken it to Parks and Rec Commission, and now we're here for you to consider whether to adopt it. So this is another way of looking at what's happened in a sense. We had round 1 of the public input. We had pop-up events, we did an online survey, community webinars, interviews, came up with the 3 concepts. A lot of the same activities again after we got the 3 concepts to whittle it down to 1. We came down with the 1 that was the June 23 presentation, and then we actually did more public feedback after the June meeting and ended up with the concept that we have today. This is also part of that. This mentions more specifically when we went to the commissions. We did go to Parks and Rec Commission. We also went to Bike Ped Commission earlier on in the project, I believe. I may be wrong there, but that's off the top of my head. But you can see on June 21st, the one on the left, shows the softball field isn't there, but then in the middle there was a basketball court, pickleball courts, and a play area. When we put the softball field there, we had to find other locations for it, and that's what we're presenting today, another iteration. So, environmental review. In 2019, the city prepared the ISMND as part of the Parks and Rec System Master Plan. As part of this project, the addendum, so we were looking at whether or not we needed to issue any changes to that initial study mitigated negative declaration. The addendum reviewed 20 environmental subjects with questions in a checklist format as per CEQA guidelines. The addendum found substantially no new or substantially more severe impacts other than those identified in the 2019 report. Same as the approved project was the resolution for every question. So all the mitigation measures from the 2019 initial study apply. Therefore, the recommended action is for City Council to consider the findings within the addendum to the Parks and Rec System Master Plan Initial Study Mitigated Negative Declaration, agree with the determination that the project would not result in new or substantially more significant impacts than previously disclosed in the initial study, and approve the Memorial Park specific plan. Hopefully that's clear, but we can come back to it if you need to. And now we are at the final concept plan. So here we are. This is the third final that we've had. The first one came to council in June 2023, as you mentioned, and it was revised to keep the softball field, and then revised again to add more pickleball courts. This design brings together a multitude of activities anchored along a connective pathway. It's this and this. We'll walk through the site, starting with the passive garden down here at the southern end of the site, and walk along till we get to Quinlan. So the next slides are all zoomed in sections there. So we'll start down at the Stevens Creek Boulevard side of the park. If I get my mouse to work, there is a passive garden walk here. This is an event lawn, which is a continuation of other event spaces up farther north. This is bocce court. This is the extension of the Cupertino Senior Center. We'd like to improve the connection to make it more accessible and easier for the people at the Senior Center to get into the park. There's a fitness center here, and of course the pickleball. So I wanted to, since we've gotten so much feedback on the pickleball, I want to take this moment to talk a little bit extra about pickleball. So it's obvious that people are very enthusiastic about the sport, and they are actively playing pickleball in Memorial Park and the Sports Center, and the pickleball community is very enthusiastic and welcoming. The ISMND addendum tells us that the proposed activities, all of them, including pickleball, do not significantly increase the average hourly noise levels and are close to existing conditions in the park, most notably the ambient noise coming from Stevens Creek Boulevard. The residents with concerns about the noise would argue it's the loud noises happening frequently that are the major annoyance. The acoustic reports indicate the average and ambient noise levels are not significantly increased by pickleball activities, but it is well known that residents near pickleball courts all over the United States have complained about the noise levels. Our report mentions the annoyance factor. And to oversimplify the takeaway a bit, anything over 60 decibels can be annoying depending on the population receiving the sound. Based on measurements taken on site, the sound calculations for the proposed pickleball area, the anticipated sound levels at the property line of adjacent residences would be approximately 56 decibels hourly, with maximum levels calculated around 71 decibels. It's worthy to note Stevens Creek Boulevard traffic noise levels are in the range of 54 to 70 decibels. So 71 decibels does exceed the noise ordinance. So how can we address that? Two things to consider. We can and will provide sound attenuation. It's estimated that this approach would reduce the noise levels by an estimated 10 decibels. This would result in noise levels dropping to the range of the city noise ordinance. And the second thing, we fully expect to see improvements in the quiet products available for pickleball between now and when we're able to move forward with an actual project to build the courts. The sound problem, quote unquote, is fairly prevalent in many parts of the U.S. in the pickleball community, and manufacturers are racing to address the problem. So that was the first part. We're going to move on to other parts of the park and then get to implementation, and then we'll be done. And I won't take as much time on each section. So Zone B, so if you just keep going up, we have a spine that continues to the north to bring us to two major destinations. One is the playground area, and next to the playground you've got picnics, an expanded picnic table area, a new restroom. This is the existing Veterans Memorial. This is the amphitheater, and we would expand it, add accessible seating, and this has got a new restroom, of course, down here too. This is the existing gazebo. So the expanded, this has got a lot of these event space, I should say. And we have a dedicated spine here to help with circulation during events. So C, the main feature is a softball field, which would remain in a dual use with the DOLA. And the softball field will have lighting and seating upgrades. Tennis will be all tennis, a dedicated court, which is one of the big feedback notes that we got, with improved seating and the restroom upgrade up here. The space is anchoring, this is a bit of a plaza with improved entry to the park here. And we also have basketball, which we know is very popular in our community. And this is a revised picnic area, as well as this plaza area here connecting the event space down south and this event space here. So the Quinlan lawn will remain, and we're going to re-energize it with plants and tree alleys on the sides, and there will be some seating pockets inserted along the perimeter. The Quinlan courtyard will receive an upgrade to better serve as a flexible space with shade, perhaps rentable. We're also improving the access to this parking lot by adding the alleyway coming and going so that it's not as congested during events. So it's important to talk about the festivals and events, since that's a big part of this park. With the new revitalized park, we would be organizing the event space to be connected and intentionally along a path, and have different size spaces that can be used as well. The site circulation, we wanted to make sure that the bike paths were clear. You don't want to have a lot of bike paths in the park because that's a bit of an issue, but we do have a clear alleyway here, and then we also have a new class 1, I believe. Is that right? Class 2? Class 1 bikeway along this side of the park. And we'll be doing some work in the parking lot to make sure that right here especially isn't a dangerous confluence of pedestrian, vehicular, and bikeways. There will be additional new trees. We're going to keep as many of the trees, and the trees that make sense to keep in the park as it is. We'll add more feature trees and line the new amenities with trees. Shade's important, very important in this vision. And the implementation. When we worked with the project team, we asked them to give us a suggested phased approach to implementing the plan. And so they considered how it might be best broken down, and this was the plan that they gave us and suggested to us. It's important to note that this is a suggestion. This isn't a direction. We're free to take one feature and do that, or do phases in different order. The Phase 1A, for example, was suggested because that has the playgrounds in it. And when we do the work to Phase 1B, we'll be taking out a majority of the playgrounds. So that makes a good deal of sense. We also find that there's some merit to doing 1B first, just because there's a lot of new features that would be going in. The connection from the senior center to the park, I personally feel is quite important. The pickleball is very popular. We'd be putting in the nature playground here, so we would still have some playground and improving the bathroom facility as well as the bocce. There's a lot going on there that would give us a lot of visibility, and it is right on Stevens Creek Boulevard, so that would also have visibility for the community outside of the park. And that is the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. That was excellent. Thank you. Council members, we can question the staff, and we can each get 3 minutes to ask them questions. Let me start off. This is a plan that, as you indicated, has gone through many iterations in terms of council decisions as well as public input. I'm sure all of us remember the last time this came up. I think the design did not include a softball field, and then there was many members of the public who attended the meeting here and made a very strong pitch to keep the softball field. Our direction to staff was go back and figure out a way to keep the softball field. So I'm happy to see that that has been accomplished in the latest design. And just looking at the whole project, correct me if I'm wrong, but so there's the softball field, the tennis courts, the pickleball, the bocce ball, and these were some of the major elements that that people were interested in or excited about, and it seems to have all the features. Is there anything that I'm missing that we've taken out from the original plan?
No, that is accurate. Thank you. All the amenities that we had before, we were able to reincorporate into the plan.
Thank you. Councilmember Moore, 3 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. So I was looking at the mitigated negative declaration, and I was specifically in the Appendix E from the Phase 1 environmental site assessment by Cornerstone Earth Group. Similar to some other ones which I've seen this company do, they show the addresses and what various businesses had been adjacent to the property. And in looking at that, I just want to get this into the record that from 1985, from at least 1985 through 2000, there was beginning with the Oaks Hygiena dry cleaners at 21269 Stevens Creek Boulevard. It could be the same one, but it changed names to Astoria Cleaners in 1992. Then it was continued being called Astoria Cleaners 1995. And then in 2000, the Oak Center Astoria Cleaners went by that name. So I want to make sure, I know this is a mitigated negative declaration, I want to make sure that if there's any potential for there to have been contamination onto the site, that could be, that you're aware of that. This has happened before where we've seen something off site which has contaminated a property, and that's why I was looking at these particular listings. Okay.
And I can respond to that briefly. That dry cleaning store was a transfer station. There was no cleaning that was actually performed at that location. And that information is actually provided in the Westport EIR for further clarity there.
Okay, excellent. That's good to know. That's what I was wondering about, is was there one there?
Councilmember Way, 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mayor Mohan. So I have a few questions for staff. So it looks like if the pickleball courts are built, then the tennis courts, which now have 2 converted to pickleball courts, will be converted back to tennis courts?
Yes, that is the intent.
Okay. And the other one I want to ask is, we emphasize shade. So they are planning to have a lot of shade, especially in the picnic areas. And it was really hot when you have picnic under the sun. So those are being planned.
That is very true. Wherever we have picnic, wherever we can put in shade that's reasonable, we like to do that.
Okay. And so my next question goes back to pickleball court. Can you put the picture up with the pickleball court? It looks like most of the pickleball courts is facing sports center instead of there's a community there, the townhouse units there. Are they facing directly to the townhouse, or they're facing the pool area? I didn't quite get the length of the pickleball courts.
One moment.
Well, that's a nice
I'm
nice
a baseball fan.
Yeah.
The
how
pickleball courts
how far does it go?
They're planned to run north-south. Was that part of your question?
No,
Sorry.
my question is when we're facing east, how far does the farthest one going to the park is facing? Is it facing tennis courts of sports center, or is it facing the condominium? Oh, townhouse.
Susan, it might be helpful to pull out the overall site plan.
Yeah.
So if you have the overall site plan and it has some faded shade of your proposed site plan. There you go.
No,
there
yes,
you go.
That's the one. The other one.
There
we go. Right there. So when I'm looking at it, it looks like mostly are facing the tennis courts, but they are a little bit over the last 1 court or 2 courts will be facing the townhome.
That's true.
Okay. So my question is, when the EIR does the noise level, do they count just the ball hitting, on each other, or do they count the people that are there?
They took measurements for 2 hours for their short-term assessment. They took the measurements at our pickleball current as well as other projects, so they have better information from other pickleball courts as well. So that was how they came up with it.
Okay, and so that's
that gets everything.
Okay, so that what I heard is within the ordinance, but maybe a little bit over if we count something different. So and then the reports, what your presentation says, the Stevens Creek noise actually kind of the same when the pickleball courts were produced. Is that or more?
Sorry,
the traffic from Stevens Creek.
The ambient traffic noise is one of the loudest factors right now for the park.
Okay.
And the studies show that the sports activities all over the park are not necessarily greater than that as an ambient and average. So I think one of the concerns with the pickleball activity is that there are high and often louder noises. And so that's what we would deal with the sound attenuation.
Yeah, my time is up, so I'll make comments later. Thank you.
Councilmember Chow, 3 minutes, please.
Hi. So there were 2 main concerns from the community. One is noise, the other one is the cost. So I want to ask about the cost first. $84 million estimate. Even the phase 1, A1 is already will cost $20 million. And we have not been able to renovate the city hall even when we had earthquake concerns for many years. And that's about $26 million. And it seems the estimate is a bit high compared with other projects we had. For example, in Jollyman, it's about $3 to $5 million there. So why is the cost so high in this estimate?
The estimates that we received, the project team gave us, are based on other projects that are similar from their experience and in the industry. This is also a much larger project than Jollyman, for example. The playground area here, I think, is, I don't know if it's quite twice the size of Jollyman, for example, but each of the portions are significant. They can be broken down.
So none of the area would be kept as is. We would be almost redoing every area. That's why it's so expensive.
The softball field will stay essentially as is. The Quinlan event lawn will stay eventually as much as possible. The Veterans Memorial will stay as it is. The amphitheater will stay in place, will be upgraded. And I could make more of a list, but the cost impacts are generally because things are so expensive these days, and it is a large area.
Okay, and then in terms of noise, I took a walk in the park yesterday, and then initially I read, okay, noise wasn't a concern from the report, but the ambient noise from traffic, I even downloaded a decibel measurement. The ambient noise from traffic is very different. At least the pattern of the noise is kind of like a wave. But if the noise from the pickleball, I understand it's a really popular sport. I would like to see more courts, definitely. But the noise from that is very different. It's a lot of pop, pop, pop. So the noise level goes up to about 100 decibel, consistently about 80. Not really 65. I wasn't even measuring right next to the court. I was across the street trying to understand. And so I doubt your noise study is sufficient. And also, the concern is really not to the people in the house who can shut their window. It's the park visitors who, the garden walk is right next to the pickleball court right now. So people who want to enjoy a quiet garden walk will be hearing pop, 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 pop. I'm a little concerned about the overall impact to the really treasured park we have.
Okay, let's open it up to the public for comments, and then we'll all get a chance to discuss it again. So.
Yes, Mayor. So just a reminder, everyone has 2 minutes to speak.
No, 90 seconds.
Oh.
Individual speakers get 90 seconds.
90 seconds to speak, 6 minutes per group. And first we'll start with Jennifer Sharon, followed by Bianca G. And then we have a group request for Doug Gore.
Oh, and just if you think someone who has come before you and has expressed this exactly the same position that you have, then, it's not a problem if you want to say the same thing, but you may just want to wave or express your solidarity with that person in some other way, just to get this going.
Welcome, Jennifer.
Sorry, I had a coughing attack there. Good evening again, Mayor Mohan and council members, staff. I'm speaking tonight as chair of the Parks and Rec Commission and as a representative for the commission. First, I want to commend the staff and consultants for how the plan incorporates much of the resident feedback on the initial draft plan. It's fantastic, and the outreach was amazing. These concerns included having a grassy DOLA area, amphitheater with ADA accessibility, an all abilities playground, more pickleball courts, as much as possible away from resident homes, incorporating low water and native species, et cetera. I won't go on. We know that no plan can satisfy everyone, but this plan overall is a good fit for our needs and wants. One item we do wish to mention as a commission is to request that we go to 2 bocce ball courts, and that's because the seniors currently play near McClellan right now, and they need 2 courts. And I've been assured by the staff that this is something that is absolutely possible. That's pretty much it. Thank you for the input of the Parks and Rec Commission and of all the people that came to speak at our meetings. Thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next we have Bianca G. Welcome, Bianca.
Good evening, Mayor Mohan, Council City members, and all present here tonight. I'm Bianca, representing my friends from the pickleball community at Memorial Park. We want to request your approval for the construction of the 8 dedicated pickleball courts at CMP. My friends will speak of many different reasons why we need the dedicated pickleballs. But I want to just summarize how we have been closely working with the Parks and Recreations. First, since September 2022, we got a tennis court 2 dedicated for pickleballs for pickleball courts on a daily basis. But by December 2022, the demand has grown so fast that we were able to gather 700 signatures and got an approval to get access to December 2023. We got access to tennis court 1. And we were able to create 4 new pickleballs as long as we provided all the equipment required for that. We raised the money in less than 3 days to be able to do that without any cost to the city. So you can see what a great community we have here. Thank you so much.
And next we have Doug Gore's group. Ruyu, Shelly M, Chica, and Ja, please join the podium since you're ceding your time. Then we'll have Zhao Mei Li, followed by Charlene Yamamoto's group. So please join the podium if you're ceding your time. Yes, thank you. You're required to stand at the podium.
Okay, thank you. As you can tell, and as Bianca mentioned, all our friends are here because we're advocating for a 3rd bocce court. Hope that's okay. All right, sorry. Bad attempt at a joke. Good evening, Mayor Mohan, City Council, and staff. My name is Doug Gore. I'm a Cupertino resident, and I'm representing the pickleball community at Memorial Park. I think City Manager Wu's fears have already been allayed, and probably your fears as well. So even though we've got a large number of pickleball supporters, there's only a subset of us that are actually speaking. We didn't want to stay here past midnight either. Okay, anyway, thank you for this opportunity to speak, and thank you to the city for hearing our voices and increasing the number of pickleball courts in the plan from 3 to 8, as Susan mentioned. So our understanding is that the 8 new courts, and as Susan showed, are actually part of Phase 1B. And Phase 1B has a total projected cost, as Susan displayed earlier, of $17.3 million. We know that the city is facing a budget crisis and that there's no definite timeline for the implementation of the plan. What we do request, though, is that, actually, I think it was 0 to 5 years for Phase 1. So. Anyway, once the city starts to develop an implementation timeline, our request is that the city prioritize the construction of the 8 new courts, and whether it's part of Phase 1B as currently in the plan or on its own mini phase. So the reason why we request higher prioritization for the 8 dedicated courts is due to the challenges that we're facing on the current 8 courts that are on the dual purpose tennis and pickleball courts. So here are those challenges. I'll go through these quickly. So challenge number 1 is we need to retape the pickleball lines every few days. So court 1 is designated as a first come, first serve for both pickleball and for the tennis courts. And so as part of the proposal for court 1 that was agreed upon by the city, we did agree that we would actually provide our own taping of the lines. But because the type of tape that we need to use for these lines needs to leave no residue, we have to use one that is not as sticky, and therefore it doesn't last as long. So we have to retape those lines every few days. Challenge 2 is we can't get approval to have the pickleball lines painted. So based on challenge 1 of having to retape the lines, we actually did raise funds. Actually raised over $6,000 in 3 days to partially pay for the painting of the lines. And we also submitted the donation form for approval to Parks and Rec. However, the painting is not going to be approved while Court 1 is in a trial. And to our understanding, there's no timeline for the trial, and the trial could last until the new courts are actually constructed. Challenge number 3. There's no paddle racks that are allowed to remain on the courts overnight. So The paddle racks provide an orderly process for players waiting to play pickleball on any of the 8 courts. So most pickleball courts do have paddle racks. We are currently allowed to use paddle racks. We just can't keep them on the courts overnight. So we have to bring them to the courts and then take them away before the end of the day. So just as an example of paddle racks, I've got displayed, so there's 3 pictures. On the first picture, this is actually without paddle racks. So we had to resort to putting pickleball paddles into the fence. So that's our queuing process with no racks. The middle picture shows the paddle rack that we actually had one of our friends make out of pickleballs that were already cracked. So we did, and then the third one is an example of a paddle rack that's a little more attractive that we could buy from retail. So if cosmetics is an issue. So challenge number 4, there have been clashes between tennis players and pickleball players. So because courts 1 and 2 are dual purpose, we have had some incidents that have occurred between tennis and pickleball players. So it even included the calling of the sheriff's office on 2 different occasions. On one occasion, we actually had a male tennis player that was verbally abusing one of our regular female players, and even started to charge at her before another tennis player stopped him. Okay. All right, challenge number 5. There's no ball barriers that are allowed on the courts when pickleball is not in use. So ball barriers prevent balls from rolling from one court to another and interrupting play. Currently, we have to put ball barriers into the corner of court 2 when not in use. Because pickleball is played sunrise to lights out, it is a challenge for us to have players move the ball barriers to the corner. So other courts do have ball barriers, and we realize that ball barriers can be a tripping hazard due to low height, and that's probably one reason, and we understand that. That's one reason why they have to be moved. So I'm showing pictures of 4 different pictures of ball barriers. On picture 1 is a metal grate, so understand that's a low height. Picture number 2 is showing a net to prevent balls from moving. Picture 3 shows higher level nets that allow players to just walk through. So these should not be a tripping hazard. And picture 4 is just another one where players can walk through, but it still is effective as a ball barrier.
Thank you, Doug. That is your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, group. Next, we have Zhao Mei Li, followed by Charlene Yamamoto's group, followed by Victor Chang. Welcome, Zhao.
Can I start? Good evening, everyone. I'm Zhao Mei Li. On behalf of Cupertino Memorial Park Pickleball Group, we're here to respectfully ask the City Council to approve the revitalization plan, which includes 8 permanent pickleball courts. From 2022 to 2023, national participation in pickleball grew by 52%. And since 2020, it has increased by 220%. Our local engagement reflects this national trend. Over the past 2 weeks, from March 19th to April 2nd, we monitored player activity at Memorial Park from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. The data shows steady participation throughout the day, peaking in the late mornings and evenings. Turnout consistently exceeded our current capacity, with more than 40 players in the morning peak hour and over 60 in the evening. Compared to data from 6 months ago, participation has doubled. The growing interest from younger demographics clearly indicate that pickleball's popularity will continue to rise. Please vote yes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Charlene Yamamoto's group, Phil Tomac, Haley Mock, Joe Gee, and Mary. Please also join the podium. Next, we'll have Victor Chang and then Suri Madula's group. Welcome, Charlene.
Thank you. My name is Charlene Yamamoto. I've become an obvious support of the new pickleball courts. But I want to make one recommendational change to the plan, that we remove the word reservable from the plan and change it to free and open to the public. I've played for the last 2 years, probably 3 to 4 times a week, and I play at both the Cupertino courts as well as the lifetime ones run by the Sunnyvale Tennis Center, and I play there regularly 2 to 3 times a week. I can compare the two, and I will tell you that if you have reservable courts, it basically removes the ability for the community to build this wonderful community you see behind me. It knows no boundaries, it knows no barriers of sex, race, religion, age. I mean, we have every demographic represented here in this room. So if I compare what I have to do at Sunnyvale to get a court during peak hours, I have to reserve them a week ahead of time. And it's a lot like trying to set up a play date for your kids, where you have to plan ahead, you have to figure out which kids you're friends with, you have to put a place, you have to get a schedule, you have to figure out their schedule, and then you meet. And you really only get to play with the people that you know. And even though they have 12 courts there, and they're beautiful courts, they don't talk to each other. You have one court right next to the next court, and the people don't mix. You don't play with each other. Whereas at Memorial, you can have one person there who will play with you, or you can have 80 sometimes there, and they'll all play with you. The beauty of pickleball is the fact that it's organic. It's organic in the way that people play it, in the way that people meet each other. I didn't know any of these people in this room 2 years ago, and now I think half of the people know me in this room. So I would just really recommend that you keep it free and keep it open to the public. As you can see, people here are so passionate about it that we play like some people play 7 times a week. Okay, I'm like 3 to 4, so I think I'm average, because there are some crazies out here that play twice a day. And if you use the fees that they charge at Lifetime, and they're pretty nominal. I mean, they're $9 an hour, and if you divide it by 4, you end up paying about $5 for about 2 hours of play, which if you play 3 to 5 times a week, that's $60 to $100 a month. And not a lot of people can afford an extra cell phone bill just to play pickleball. And it'll basically be another barrier to entry where people want that access. You need to keep that access open. And then another reason is there's already reservable courts. We don't need more reservable courts around here. CSC can reserve them. You can reserve them at Sunnyvale if you really need a drill court, which I do regularly. I need both. But I think the demand, as you can see in this room, is the reason it's growing is not because of the play. It's not because of the exercise and the endorphins you get. It's because of who you meet. It's because of the water cooler effect, as you would call it, at work, where you meet people and you make connections, and those connections, as somebody and other people will tell you in this room, they amplify each other. We support each other, we find each other jobs, we find mechanics for each other, we watch each other's pets. I mean, it's insane. So I leave you with the analogy of the play date. If tennis is like a play date, and they seem similar to pickleball and tennis, but tennis is like getting a play date together. You get your people, you get your court, you play your game, you get your time, and then you leave. Pickleball, I can drop in for a game for 10 minutes, or I can drop in for 4 hours if I want. And I do it on a whim when it's convenient for me. And that's why it works. That's why it has to be open, it has to be free, and it has to be no reservations. So please, please, please change the recommendation in the plan from reservable to free and open to the public. You will get higher usage, you'll build a better community with obviously diversity, and it's the tribe we want to build. It's the organic supporting of our tribe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlene and group. Next we have...
we do not allow applause just because it does it causes all kinds of problems for people who don't think like you, and we don't want anyone to be intimidated by applause. So thank you for honoring that.
Welcome, Victor.
Hi, thanks for having me speak here. I'm Victor Cheng. I'm actually a lifelong tennis player since age 12, but I was introduced to pickleball about 3 years back and have been a very avid player since. And because of that, I've been looking around and played more pickleball at surrounding areas and found Memorial Park to be a quite nice place to play. Just want to share some other areas around here that have dedicated pickleball courts. For example, John Mice Park in the nearby West San Jose has 4 dedicated pickleball courts, and often you can find 30 people or more players playing pickleball there. In Palo Alto, there is a huge community-led effort that resulted in 15 dedicated pickleball courts that were built over there, and they're quite popular and also have drawn lots of high level of pickleball players from all over the Bay Area. I've also visited Napa throughout the winter break with my family, and there are 4 dedicated pickleball courts there. And so, as you can see, having these 8 cheer courts in Memorial Park has drawn quite a bit of a community. And I'm here to have want to voice a strong support for Memorial Park to have 8 dedicated pickleball courts as part of the revitalization plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Next, we have Surrey Medulla's group, Connie Chin, Doug Thompson, Curtis Lee, and Alice. Please join the podium. Then we will have Diana Yen, followed by Rajiv Patik. So there's one more person.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome, Surrey.
Mayor Mohan, Vice Mayor Fruin, Council Members Chow, Moore and Wei. My name is Suri Madula. Thanks for listening to my input. I and many of my friends would like to urge you to approve the revitalization that shall have 8 dedicated pickleball courts. I trust that the benefits of pickleball are being made by my other team members. I've heard, however, some of my fellow citizens worry about the noise of the game. We do feel the responsibility to address the concern for noise, and there are many ways that, especially when applied in combination, can very significantly mitigate the level of propagated sound from pickleball games. If you look at the picture, one relatively straightforward mitigation is to use sound blocking materials that have been developed and applied in pickleball courts, such as Los Altos Mackenzie Park. These are sound barriers, and if we apply such materials on the fences of the 8 pickleball courts, they're shown to reduce the sound by 10 decibels to 20 decibels, largely mitigating the noise concerns. Second approach is vegetation. Vegetation, especially leafy types, can beautify the parks, but they act as effective barriers too because of their 3-dimensional structure. We can grow such vegetation, especially on the northeastern edge of the pickleball courts, to dampen the sound from the pickleball. This approach has been well demonstrated in the second picture, which is the El Quito Park, which is in Saratoga. The thick vegetation surrounding the park's pickleball courts has significantly reduced their sound propagation. Another approach to reducing the sound, we have these 2 mitigations, which I think should be more than enough, but another approach is to consider the location of the courts as well. Right? The orientation of the court has an effect on the sound and the propagation, so we could think about orienting the court. And then the location right now is right next to Stevens Creek. I think it's a fine location, but if there's better locations in the park, we could put them there as well. Also, the noise and vibration assessment done by the city is already showing that the noise is within acceptable levels, and if we use these mitigations and combinations of these mitigations, then we should be well below the acceptable noise levels. So I trust and I hope we can agree that the worry about noise from the 8 pickleball courts should not be such a significant issue if we carry out these recommendations. Please approve the 8 pickleball courts and bring joy and health to your citizens at the earliest opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Surrey and group. Next, we have Diana Yen, followed by Rajiv Patik, followed by Kathy Chu's group. Welcome, Diana.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Diana Yen, and I'm here to speak in support of the revitalization plan, specifically the 8 pickleball courts. As you can see, we have a big and growing pickleball community at Memorial Park. We use WhatsApp to communicate with each other, and this group has almost 500 members today. We are also a very active group with the United Voice. We recently took a survey from our group to get some data, and we got a 37% response rate in 2 days. Here's what we learned. About half of us live in Cupertino. Many of us play pickleball at Memorial Park every day, if not twice or 3 times a day. As this chart shows, about 62% play between 5 to 15 hours a week. An additional 17% play even more than that. We also found that 65% of our group play pickleball only at Cupertino and not at other parks. Cupertino pickleball community has a reputation of being very friendly. Many people from neighboring cities come support us and join us for the camaraderie. We organize community picnics and weekly breakfasts and other group activities which are all sponsored by our own members. And when we needed help with taping court lines or squeegeeing wet courts, volunteers always show up quickly.
Thank you. That was your time.
Thank you very much for your time.
Next, we have Rajiv Patik, followed by Kathy Chu's group, followed by Jennifer Griffin. Welcome, Rajiv.
Hello, my name is Rajiv Patik. I'm pastor at Good Samaritan United Methodist Church, and I am here to speak on behalf of our pickleball community, and I want to share some spiritual, psychological, emotional, and social benefits of playing pickleball. As you know, as we all know, that after COVID, it has become really hard for people to connect with one another. There is a pandemic of isolation and loneliness is happening all over America, all over the world. And pickleball community, actually, as you might have seen a lot of pictures and a big community here, it encourages people to connect with one another. It encourages people to really mingle with one another, eat together, play together. And I think it is the responsibility of civic authority, religious authorities, all authorities to make this happen organically as much as possible. And so as a civic authority, you should be so delighted that it is happening under your care. And so I would like you to consider this and support this as much as possible. And also there is a request to have a stronger lighting system there. Because many of the young people, those who work and are active, are not able to come during the daytime. And so when they come in the evening, even at nighttime, so they can play well. Thank you for consideration, and God bless you.
Thank you, Rajiv. Next, we have Kathy Chu's group, Manish, Susan B., Fred, and BJ, followed by Jennifer Griffin, followed by Ed P. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff. I'm Kathy Chu. I'm here to talk about the power of pickleball as a sport and as a community. I urge you to approve the 8 permanent pickleball courts in the Memorial Park design. In order to speak for our community, I talked to some of the players I knew to learn what pickleball has meant to them. Their stories follow. Doug lost his wife in 2022 to pancreatic cancer. I lived alone with my grief, he told me. I mourned my wife and cried every day for over a year. Then in June of 23, a friend told me about pickleball at Memorial Park. Doug visited, played, and stayed. He felt physically renewed from playing and emotional support connecting with other players. That was 9 months ago, Doug told me. Today, I'm in better physical shape, but most importantly, I found a new lease on life. Matthew, right here, started to play pickleball for fun with his dad at 7, and is now a fearsome competitor at 9. Matthew told me, I play with lots of different people, from kids to grown-ups to 80-year-olds. He's lucky to have many good adult players willing to play with him and coach him. Being able to play free courts, find free courts, and pickup games whenever he's available after school made pickleball accessible. His mom said, Matthew is a shy kid, but he's gained confidence and even learned to socialize with adults. Maria can be found on CMP courts every day. Her youngest daughter recently had double mastectomy to remove cancer tumors and is now undergoing chemotherapy. I fear for my daughter and find it very, very difficult to even speak of the situation, said Maria. I wish I could trade places with her. Pickleball has become Maria's outlet to manage her stress. I want to hit balls, be surrounded by friends, so I can stay strong for my family, physically and emotionally. AJ said, as a single parent, I don't have a lot of disposable income for sports clubs, especially in these tough economic times. Being a single parent, AJ also feels a need for adult relationships to battle loneliness. CMP offers an amazing space for pickleball, he said. And playing there has given me free access to a great sport while bonding with people. He added, in these times when loneliness plagues so many, free access to a sport that also builds a great social community is absolutely vital. Personally, I've never witnessed so much selfless dedication to a community than the pickleball players at CMP. During the many rainstorms this winter, people stood shoulder to shoulder to squeegee the courts, sometimes multiple times a day, or endlessly retaping the court lines so everybody could play. These selfless acts of the few have inspired the many, and the community bonded. So what's the secret sauce that makes this community so cohesive, effective, and growing rapidly? If there's one word to summarize the pickleball experience at CMP, it is joy. We feel joy of the sport on the courts, and joy among newfound friends off the courts. A Harvard Gazette article dated April 2017 ran with the title, "Good genes are nice, but joy is better." It went on to say, Harvard study, almost 80 years old, has proved that embracing community helps us live longer and be happier. The study tracked 268 Harvard students starting in 1938. But the magic of the CMP pickleball ecosystem is fragile unless we give it sustenance. Our members are working tirelessly to keep the magic going. Small acts of accommodation can help spread joy. I urge the council to choose joy and help us maintain this rare gift to the community. This city has worked hard to foster our community with concerts, plays, and sports at CMP, as we all seen in the current design as well as the new design. Pickleball is that sport which binds a community and is one that this city council would want to nurture. I ask you to approve the 8 permanent courts in the Memorial Park plan, and in fact, please do everything you can to accelerate their construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy and group. Next we have Jennifer Griffin, followed by Ed P., followed by Lisa Warren. Welcome, Jennifer.
Good evening, City Council. I'm Jennifer Griffin. We are talking about Memorial Park, not all about pickleball. I know people are very enthusiastic about it. I went to a lot of meetings about redoing Memorial Park. I'm very happy that the softball is still there, that we have many amenities for different people. I'm a bit disappointed that the lawn along Stevens Creek Boulevard disappeared. I'm not sure when that happened, because I like to drive down Stevens Creek and see the lovely lawn area, because that's what parks, a lot of parks are. It's lawn seating area. Children can run around. We all have our different things. One of the things I'm concerned about is I don't like to see heated arguments at city parks. It sets a poor precedent for other family members. So I think we need to keep the tennis people separate from the pickleball people. We don't want to have the police having to come out. That isn't the reason why we have parks. I think keeping tennis over by the softball court and keeping pickleball by the wherever they were building it now. I do understand that there will be great development in the future that the paddles will be quieter.
Thank you, Jennifer.
But
That is
thank
your
you
time.
very much, Susan, et cetera, et cetera.
Next, we have Ed P., followed by Lisa Warren, followed by Christian Bundang. Welcome, Ed.
Hi. I'd like to speak to this pickleball kind of personalized. I call it pickleball magic. For 25 years, I played racquetball. I had one friend. We went through 3 different courts over 25 years, and then the pandemic ended that whole thing. And then there was kind of a reset, and my wife discovered this funny pickleball game. And so I said, well, I'll go out and check it out. It's kind of interesting, and I invested $5 in this paddle I bought at Goodwill. You could call it vintage, a little bit like me, I guess. And so I took my paddle, wandered around, and I think you all know, right behind me is what I found. A group of people who were welcoming and wanted to build a community. And as you heard from Kathy, I have learned there's a lot of stories among my friends. This has been a great therapy for me that I didn't know I was looking for. And most of my 100 friends don't know we are all in group therapy. So there's no shortage of studies, as Kathy said, about how this is making me a better person, a healthier person, and all I needed was a $5 paddle. So my friends are getting the same benefit. I urge you to make this a healthier community and give us some dedicated pickleball courts.
Thank you, Ed. Next, we have Lisa Warren, followed by Christian Bundang, followed by Tomas.
So I'm glad I'm following Ed because, well, just because. I really want to turn around and tell all these people, please run for city council, please apply for commissions, because it's people who cooperate, which you sound like you do, that we need leading our city. So, I mean, that's nothing against anybody that's up there. Just good old-fashioned collaboration and hard work and squeegee in the courts, awesome. In fact, maybe the city governance meetings would be better done on a pickleball court. And I'm serious about that, actually. So please remember what Jennifer reminded us. This is not just about pickleball. And I think this group knows it. And Susan, once again, you did an awesome job of explaining things in a way that people can understand, and you speak clearly. We love you. It's a big we, not just me. Getting back to the cost, I think a lot of the public is worried about the cost. And I know as the years go on, it will get more. And when you phase things, it's more expensive doing it all at once. But basically, we have no money to do it all at once. So something needs to be talked about in that realm.
Thank you, Lisa. That was your time. Next, we have Christian Bundang, followed by Tomas, followed by Jean Bedord, followed by Elisa Rausch. Welcome, Christian.
Hello, my name is Chris, and I hail from Union City in the East Bay. I'm here with my friends as a member and representative of the Milk Tea Drinkers Pickleball Group. In the past 6 months, pickleball has provided many positive things to my life, and I can say for certain that my friends and many more will say the same. It is a sport that is highly accessible, incredibly fun, and naturally brings about a social and communal aspect to it that is unmatched. Furthermore, in this post-pandemic recovery period, pickleball has become a prominent outlet for those who've suffered from conditions on the vein of mental health exacerbated by the COVID-19 disease. The fast-paced, addictive nature of the sport is sure to give anybody a much-needed boost to their endorphins and healthy dopamine levels. And on that note, I strongly urge you to consider opening more courts so that more people can enjoy the sport for all the benefits it brings. It doesn't matter how young or old you are, where you come from, or what you do. When it comes to the courts, there is only one thing people focus on. It is to play. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Christian. Next we have Tomas, followed by Jean Bedord, followed by Alicia Rausch, followed by Nancy Hertien. Welcome, Tomas.
Okay, I'm a property owner at Cupertino Commons, and I'm asking all the enthusiastic people if they would want to live about 1 minute walk away from the noisy pickleball court. It's probably the noisiest sport other than target shooting. So the noise is really an issue. Most of you guys are gonna hop into the car, drive there, play for some time, hop into the car and go home. And I'll have a tennis court, pickleball tennis court, noise of it all day long. So the noise is a huge problem. It is a huge issue. Is this the only location that should be considered? You know, next to the community that has been there for a long, long time. So I think the location that is currently shown on the plan is quite unfortunate. So again, ask yourself if you would want to live a minute away from the pickleball court.
Thank you, Tomas. Next we have Jean Bedord, followed by Elisa Rausch, followed by Nancy Hertien. Welcome, Jean.
Good evening, council and staff. Boy, this is a tough group to follow. I'm not quite as joyous as they are. My name is Jean Bedord, and I'm a Cupertino resident. And I would really like to commend the consultants and the staff for developing an excellent plan. There have been multiple iterations to get to this point. I've attended many of the sessions over the years, and I'm impressed by how well those voices have been incorporated into the final plan. The final plan, it reflects those conversations. 8, up from 4, pickleball courts, retention of the lighted softball field and tennis courts, an expanded senior center deck and plaza, which is near and dear to my heart because there's so little ADA access to it. The addition of ADA access to the amphitheater. It's very inaccessible to someone who has disabilities. An all abilities playground, a full-size basketball court, new restrooms, and an improved bike pedestrian access. So I urge you to unanimously approve this plan and move to the next challenging phase, finding money to do the phased implementation through grants and increased revenues. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Next we have Elisa Rausch, followed by Nancy Hertien, followed by George Koo.
Hello, I live at the Commons of Cupertino on Patriot Way, which leads to the park area where the pickleballs are planned to be put in. I mean, a minute. When we have construction just in our complex, I can hear it like they're pounding on my wall. Pickleball is very, very loud. My recommendation is that you stick with the pickleball where it is now and keep working on soundproofing, because that's what's upsetting the neighbors who are on that street, and we'll be much, much closer than that. So please, don't do this to us.
Thank you, Elisa. Next we have Nancy Hertien, followed by George Koo, followed by Luis Sadati. Welcome, Nancy.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Hertien, and once before I stood in front of the city council about trees. I've lived at the Commons of Cupertino since the summer of 1981, almost 43 years. I'm one of the old ones there. Back in 81, the Memorial Park was mostly there. So were the ponds, the bleachers, and in back of our complex was the sports center and tennis. Across the street from my home, along Alva's, was an apricot orchard. So pretty it was. Since that time, I've seen many changes, some good and some not very well planned. Some of them are gone now, like the ponds. I believe bringing in a pickleball area with the added light, car parking, will be a detriment to Memorial Park and a big mistake. Just imagine the constant sounds of small hard balls hitting a hard paddle day and night, near your home. Would you like that? I doubt it. The park has been a wonderful place to walk and get exercise for all ages. Replacing the grass and trees will shorten our walks and interfere with our peacefulness we have now. Thank you.
Next, we have George Koo, followed by Louise Sadati, followed by Barry Chang. Welcome, George.
Good evening, Mayor Mohan and honorable members of the City Council. I'm currently the president of Mountain View Pickleball Club, and I'm here to support the effort of the pickleballers here in Cupertino. We're facing the same issue in Mountain View. We're slightly behind in terms of where you folks are. I played tennis for 65 years, and then when I couldn't run around cover the court anymore, I gravitated to pickleball, and I've been playing pickleball for 5 years. So tennis and pickleball does not have to be adversarial. It's a very natural migration to keep older folks fit. But I also need to emphasize the pickleball is for all ages, and in fact, the reason for the growth, exponential growth of popularity, is because anybody and everybody can take it on with a minimum amount of physical skill. In tennis, you have to take a lot of lessons to get to a certain level of competence, and it's an important distinction. With pickleball, it's highly social. Everybody needs to be together to interact. The games are over in 15 minutes or less, so there's a fast turnover, and while you're waiting, you can interact and make friends. It's very essential to keep people fit and exercise, and I hope you all will go through the plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. Next, we have Louise Sadati, followed by Barry Chang. Welcome, Louise.
Hello. I'm getting my steps in tonight. Thank you to the city staff and council for all your work over 2 years to obtain community input, 3 revisions to the Memorial Park specific plan. I appreciate the city council's receptivity to the community input. Please approve the Memorial Park specific plan tonight so construction can begin. Besides pickleball, which hooray for you, I hear your passion, the Memorial Park DOLA also needs to begin its path to becoming an ongoing part of Memorial Park. So please begin the specific plan construction. I like the sound mitigation ideas that one pickleball group presented. I think that's a collaborative way to approach the sound. There are, though, some people speaking against the money being planned to be spent on Memorial Park specific plan. I'm impressed with the pickleball speakers. Perhaps the city can encourage pickleball tournaments and have the pickleball players help get folks to encourage a fundraiser with the pickleball tournaments. They could be a powerful force to help the city with the monies to be spent on the Memorial Park specific plan and help counter those voices against spending the monies on Memorial Park. Please approve the Memorial Park specific plan tonight so construction can begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. And our final speaker is Barry Chang in Community Hall, that is. Welcome, Barry.
Put the picture there. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Make it larger. I don't know. That's in the nighttime. I went to the Memorial Park, took the picture. 6 tennis court. 2 tennis court were used. 2 tennis court were used by pickleball, so it's comparable. But there are only 6 people in the tennis court, but there's 60 people at the pickleball court. This is a popular sport, okay? The city should embrace it right away. The city's existing is to provide a service to the people. So don't forget about that, okay? And then this is a popular game, and it's suitable for all ages, all shape, pretty much all condition. And I went over there, looked at it, and then someone showed me how to do it. The next day I went and bought my racket. And then they told me that since you're the former mayor, you should buy something more than $100. If you buy something less than $100, you will show that you're a little bit too cheap. Okay, so I bought one is just exactly $100. Okay. My suggestion is approve the Memorial Park renovation plan with the pickleball in there, and then you with some consideration for the neighbor, put a sound barrier or whatever system, you can reduce the sound or causing the problem for the resident. And number two, put the permanent marker on those existing one in the pickleball, the tennis court on the Memorial Park. Right now you only have one, okay. And number
Thank you, Barry, that was your time.
Sure.
And you are now muted. Barry, you're now muted. And so we will move to those individuals requesting to speak virtually. We have Suzanne Beckett, Fariba Ali Khani, and Nori. Welcome, Suzanne.
Hello. I'm sorry, my voice is, I'm not well tonight, but I do want to agree with my neighbors from the Commons and with Councilwoman who checked the traffic noise compared to pickleball noise. There is no comparison. And we shouldn't have to keep our windows closed to avoid hearing the sound of those pop, pop, pops. It's just unbelievable. It really will affect our quality of life. And I'm not against the sport of pickleball. I think it's great. But it shouldn't be close to residences like this. And I think even, and you know, somebody said from sun up to lights out, that's like 16 hours a day. We would be bombarded with terrible noise. And I doubt that anybody in this room would want to live near a pickleball court with 8 courts, which could have over 30 people at a time with high decibel noise. So please, can you find another location? The sport's popular. It should be somewhere in Cupertino, but it doesn't have to be right where it's now proposed on Anton Way. So please, please reconsider and find another option. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Next we have Fariba Ali Khani, followed by Nori, followed by Tracy Kay. Welcome, Fariba.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hello, Mayor Mohan, Vice Mayor Fruin, and council members. I'm Fariba, a Cupertino resident, and my house is right behind the tennis courts. Since I bought this house, I have experienced a variety of noise and light problems from the tennis courts and all the activities in the park. I can hear people in the park. How could I not hear pickleball 10 steps away? I am requesting the mayor, the vice mayor, and all the council members to divert this plan and not to put the pickleball courts next to our ears on Anton Way. The noise, traffic, and light pollution on Anton is already very high. In truth, someone's desire for pickleball should not compromise the quality of life for homes next door. I like to ask speakers, would you be living where there is a pickleball court? Please do not compromise our quality of life even more. We live on Anton Way behind the tennis courts. And if this is approved, I would say that we might have more problem with the city. We might press charges. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Nori, followed by Tracy Kay, followed by Deepa Mahendrakar. Welcome, Nori.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity. We residents in Commons next to the Memorial Park are devastating and very concerned about placing 8 pickleball courts next to our complex on Anton Way. The high-pitched loud noise impacts many people, not only pickleball noise, but also loud players talking sound. Hearing the noise all day may cause hearing and health problems. Pickleball noise is almost double the noise than the tennis from 8 courts. We can hear the pickleball noise from 500 feet away. That means almost 1/3 of the residents can hear the high-pitched loud noise from early in the morning to late night, 7 days a week. The current tennis court is ideal location away from playground, amphitheater, passive garden walk, veterans memorial. In fact, tennis courts are often not fully used. 1 or 2 courts are often empty. So please leave the pickleball courts where they are now and allow those 2 tennis courts to be designated for pickleball. In fact, that city can save $1.2 million under tight budget. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Nori. Next, we have Tracy K, followed by Deepa Mahendrakar, followed by Michael Sue. Welcome, Tracy.
Hi, thank you so much. So I wanted to take a step back. We've heard a lot about pickleball courts, but Cupertino has 57,000 residents. Why are we spending $84 million on a park renovation? We're not building it from scratch. There is a park currently in place. That seems like an inordinate amount of money. Also, don't forget that $1.2 million was recently spent to redo the lawn, which is very nice. So, why are we ripping parts of it up again? If you look through the different line items within this cost plan, I asked council tonight, please find a way to make this cost significantly less. I believe that we need a new playground. I believe that you need to update the restrooms. Sure, maybe pickleball courts, but it doesn't seem like that should cost very much. But if you look at some of these line items, apparently buying a new tree is $40,000. Did you know that a new tree costs anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000? Some of these costs feel a little bit inflated to me. Apparently protecting a tree is $1,500 per tree. Demolishing a tree is $2,500 per tree. Please take a look at these costs. Find a way to make it cost less. I totaled up all of the planting and irrigation costs. They add up to about $6 million over all of the phases. I don't know that people are going to derive the same amount of utility out of planting and irrigation. Please find a way to make it cost less. We do not support an $84 million new park. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Next, we have Deepa Mahendrakar, followed by Michael Sue, followed by Parimal Kobardekar. Welcome, Deepa.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Respected City Council members and Mayor Mohan, I have been a dogs off-leash area advocate since 2017 in Cupertino, where we did not have a single area where large dogs or small dogs or any dogs for that matter could run leash-free. Dogs by nature need to exercise themselves and run their energies out to actually be safe to the community. Also, the dog lovers are probably one of the most prolific users of any park and amenities thereof, because the rain, shine, cold, wind, storm, we are there twice a day. I am in favor of the Memorial Park specific plan, primarily because DOLA was incorporated in it. Thank you for the planners, for the outreach activities, and for being sensitive to our voices. My only ask is that making DOLA and the baseball park enablement should be probably in the earlier phases of this program, not later. So because we are there, we are already using it, making it official will make it easier, and it's probably lower cost than most of the other things that are on the plan at this point. So yes, please pass this plan, but please see if DOLA and the baseball area related changes can happen in earlier phases. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Michael Sue, followed by Parimal Kobardekar, followed by Sayuri. Welcome, Michael.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys all getting together. I'm just thinking, we all live in Silicon Valley. It's a stressful, definitely not an easy place to live. The costs are high, and it can be stressful even to live here. And I'm just imagining, if we all were to imagine, we close our eyes and after long days of work, we come home, and then we hear this. I mean, I'm all for pickleball. This recording, by the way, was taken just outside, those pickleball courts we have right now at Memorial Park. And it's just tough because I took this, when I took this video right here, or this recording, someone thought the neighbor was watching me taking this recording. And then they thought I was actually one of the planning committee members to come help them review the situation. And I felt so bad for her because she lives right across the street. And you know, to have to hear this day in and day out, it's difficult. And we're all humans here, and I can all understand that, you know, when we're stressed and we want to go home, it's tough, you know, to have to listen to the sounds, you know, over and over and over again. So I just hope that, you know, if we can, instead of a vertical strip of pickleball courts leading toward the residences, maybe it can be moved horizontal, or in a different location where the bocce ball courts are.
Thank you. That is your time. Next, we have Parimal Kobardekar, followed by Sayuri. Welcome, Parimal.
And thank you for the opportunity to speak at this meeting. I am both dog lover and a pickleball lover, and I think both can proceed simultaneously very well. We need dog park and Memorial Park, and we need a good pickleball court that will be sensitive to the neighbors' constraints about the noise, and I think that can be done through the baffling and the soundproofing with the right lights on, that we can continue to maintain that. For those who haven't tried pickleball, I will encourage you all to try pickleball because it is a really great community building exercise. I have enjoyed it. We have 80-some new friends now every day that we make. So please join the pickleball and also join the Dola Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sayuri. Welcome, Sayuri. Sayuri, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'll get to the point. Memorial Park is special. Open fields are essential parts of any park, even more so in the case of Memorial Park, which hosts many big events such as Kids Fun Festival, Cherry Blossom Festival, and Diwali. With the availability of the Anza College parking lots on weekends, no other park can perform the role better than Memorial Park. In order to make sure that the park continue doing an excellent job as an event hosting park, we should think twice before taking out any big chunk of open field. Is it worthwhile to spend over $1 million to remove the valuable open fields? Any alternative solution considered? Cupertino has many parks. Some of them are underutilized. It might be a good opportunity to revitalize such an underutilized park by adding a pickleball courts. Lastly, I hope you consider the quality of everyday life of neighbors more important than the convenience of casual sports players who has other options. Thank you for attention.
Thank you. And Mayor, that concludes the speakers that had their hands raised before the cutoff.
Okay. So thank you so much to all of you who showed up today to express your opinions on Memorial Park and pickleball and tennis courts and bocce ball courts and ADA access. The level of public engagement that we've seen today is wonderful, and this is what makes Cupertino the wonderful city that it is. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for spending a big chunk of your evening with us. Having said that, this ends our public comments section, and we will bring it back to the council for discussion and deliberation and take it from there. So just for discussion purposes, I'd like to have a motion, and we can continue our deliberations after that. Do I see anyone wanting to make a motion? All right, I will make a motion to accept the staff report and to approve the Memorial Park specific plan design, which is a conceptual plan at this point, and then we can come back for further discussion.
Point of order, Mayor. Would your motion also include adopting the resolution approving the addendum to the initial study mitigated negative declaration for
Yes, it would.
The plan? Okay. Thank you.
So I'll offer a second for the sake of discussion. I might have a friendly amendment to offer later.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second, and we can start discussions. Councilmember Way.
Thank you, Mayor Mohan. So I would like to start the discussion on, thank you for the staff that you really put everything in there. We have softball, basketball, pickleball.
Excuse me, you get 5 minutes,
Sure.
Councilmember Way,
Okay.
so we can.
Okay, so I want to say, my pickleball friends, building communities, playing, this is really great. I am all for putting 8 pickleball courts in Memorial Park. However, I do want to speak for the neighbors who live close by, and I'm sure you'll want to be good neighbors. My main point is I would like your 8 pickleball courts to be fully used, because if you get so close to the neighborhood, they're going to come and limit you can't play after 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I want to see the difference about traffic on Stevens Creek. Traffic on Stevens Creek dies down after 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Pickleball doesn't. Actually, it kind of raises up at that time. So I know you all want to be great neighbors. So I have a couple of recommendations, and I'll see if the staff can work on it. The first one is there any way we can put pickleball courts away from the neighborhood but still put in a memorial park? If we can't, I'm looking at, I studied for a long time. If we can move 2 of them that's close to the neighborhood along Stevens Creek Boulevard, make it more away from the neighborhood. So it's kind of a 90-degree angle to each other, still close to each other, but use the best soundproof system we can have. A bit difference makes a big difference in noise. So that will be if you cannot move it anywhere, can you make 2 close along Stevens Creek, keep the last 2 on Anton, so that's way away from the townhouse. I know that's not ideal, but this reminds me when I was in council and Ragnar Creek Trail was being built. You know, you have neighbors who live right on the trail. They came and it could be noisy, but the council decided to say, whatever fence you want, we'll give it to you. You want concrete, you want that, because we want to be good neighbors. So this is my recommendation, is there any way you can put this 8 pickleball courts somewhere else? That's why you can have tournaments. Nobody's going to complain. You're going to, fully use it. There's lighting. You can use it till 10 p.m. So that would benefit both the neighborhood and the pickleball community. And if not, that would be my last resort, is to move 2 along Stevens Creek, so it's a little bit more away from the neighborhood. That's my first point. My second point is, I understand the noise level we're talking about. Traffic on Stevens Creek is the same as pickleball, but it is not, because when you add pickleball, you double the noise. You still have the traffic, then you have the pickleball noise. Again, I want to emphasize at night, traffic is not there, but pickleball is going to be there. So I really want to voice, how can we be good neighbors, but have pickleball tournaments in Memorial Park and fully use it so we can build community and really grow pickleball. As one of the pastors says, it's psychological, it's really, it's community building, it's really a way to make friends in our community. So I'm going to reserve my 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Councilmember Moore.
Okay. Thank you. I really enjoyed hearing the stories about the camaraderie and the mental and physical health benefits of pickleball. I'm very concerned about individuals who are going to be living near where these courts are going to be. I personally find the basketball sounds that can get on your nerves after a good while as well. So we are not to redesign this project from the dais, and I sort of wondering from staff, what would you like to hear from us for some kind of direction? And I was wondering if there's some way to move this it's because it's number 5 on the map. Can we move 5 to next to 23, where 17 is playground? And if there is some possibility with that, with your phasing, you could possibly get a benefit where you're not having the fight between the playground being out of commission and then pickleball. So just as an option for that, because I'm concerned that if you were to put in some sound walls, you might also have a security issue where the sheriff isn't able to see in or something like that. And it also has an effect where you're limiting the view shed for people who are enjoying the park. That being said, we're talking about the noise level for the individuals living off of Anton. I'm concerned about the beautiful garden that you have planned in the 15 and 4 areas next to pickleball. It may be that when people walk through there that they would find the noise unpleasant there as well if they wanted to sit and enjoy the garden space. So if you have some suggestions for us on hearing all the public testimony, that would be greatly appreciated for what you think can be done to mitigate this. Thank you.
Councilmember Chow, you have 5 minutes. Oh, you don't have 5 minutes. Yes, you do. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So if I don't use all the time, I'll reserve the rest. Then I'd like to thank the staff for really trying very hard to accommodate all the community requests. And within 2 months, you have a new plan after the council gave direction last June. So it's amazing and a great presentation. I really am touched by the community, this camaraderie and all the positive impact you have in each other's lives. But like someone said, we are not here talking about a pickleball court. We are here for a memorial park specific plan. This is like the only central park in Cupertino, and it's known for its natural beauty, and people do visit the park to do other things. They enjoy their walk, they take their kids, they go to playground. And I went to the park yesterday to try and experience what it was like. And the noise level totally is different from the pickleball noise. I really want to support the community, but for neighbors, they at least can shut their door. But for a park visitor who might be visiting the passive garden walk, which has the highest votes, by the way, by all the community members, they want a passive garden walk. But right now, it's right next to the pickleball court. So all those people who wanted passive garden walk might find out they're not in having a quiet garden walk, but it would be a lot of pickleball noise all day long, pop, 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 pop. And I read some study. In general, yes, we can try, and there are new technology, but pickleball noise is about 30 decibel more than other ambient noise, and especially because it varies in when you hit the ball. Our ear, it will feel like it's double noisy because of this variation. Just by walking around yesterday after 5 minutes, not even right next to the court, I already feel my nerve tensed up. So I really want to find a proper location for a pickleball court. And then someone mentioned the Palo Alto. I looked up. Palo Alto was able to repave their tennis court to provide, I think, at least 8 courts with less than $500,000. Could we possibly look at other location that doesn't really have this not only aesthetic but also really significant impact on the only park we have? and the sound walls is going to also add aesthetic barriers to the park visitors. Yeah, thank you. That's.
I just wanted to make a few comments. What we are looking at today is the Memorial Park specific plan design. There is no funding that's been allocated to any of the phases of this design. So my understanding is that we approved the plan in concept and then just wait for the funding to resolve itself. We'll probably have to do a combination of various things: outside funding, state funding, grant funding, general fund. But we're not there as yet. So my understanding is that at the end of it, we are basically adopting the conceptual plan and not worrying about, well, we will worry about the financing at a later stage. But for today, we are just approving the concept of the Memorial Park design. I just wanted to make that clear.
Mayor, if I can clarify, so you're absolutely right. So I think Susan showed a earlier slide in her presentation that shows the multiple steps before the pickleball courts can be realized and played on. We're about halfway through. So what we're asking council to consider tonight is to approve the specific plan, understanding that there might be further design that will take place further on down the road. I would like to point out that we could also take the proposal back to the drawing board, and we will be coming back to council for an amendment to that contract for the designer and the consultant to continue to do the revision. Alternatively, we can also take input from council when we go to the next stage of the final design before construction. We can look at the noise impact and other opportunity. So I want to bring back the focus to council that tonight we're hoping that you can adopt a resolution to approve the CEQA document and approve the specific plan.
Okay. Thank you, Madam City Manager. Councilmember Moore?
I would like to hear a response from staff with regards to if we do want to relocate pickleball. Is that something that would need to go back for a redesign, that we can approve the initial study MND if we were to try to move it towards the parking area number 23 as a swap? Is that something that's possible without too much difficulty, or you know, what do you suggest with regards to that? Hearing the public's concern about the noise, what can we do?
Can you hear me? Very good. Again, we've kind of stated this previously. This is a conceptual design. We've taken the community's input. We've tried to situate requests where we think may be appropriate. We've heard from some residents that they don't feel the location of the pickleball courts is appropriate. When we get into design level drawings, we'll look to see if there is a better location for those courts, one that does work for the community of pickleballers behind us as well as the commons next to it. We'll also be looking at other residents around there. Just like Parks and Rec had requested at their meeting, they want 2 bocce ball courts. That's a design level effort. And so I think we can work with the community when we come in with the design. We will have additional community output. We will be reaching out to the commons and other folks. So there will be other opportunities to get into those fine details.
Thank you. Councilmember Fruin? Oh, Vice Mayor Fruin.
So I think this is where Councilmember Moore was going, and to some extent also what the city manager was trying to allude to is essentially what direction do you need from us, if any, with respect to this concern involving how we relocate any particular portion of the pickleball court so that we don't have as much noise conflict. And then by the same token, what direction, if any, do you need from us with regard to a second bocce ball court?
I think tonight, the direction we're hoping to get from council is approval of the master plan, and when we go to do design level drawings, to do public outreach, which is what we would do anyway. I think at that point in time, many of the concerns and issues that we've heard from folks can be addressed then.
All right. So the expectation then is that you would come back to us anyway.
We would be coming back to the community with outreach efforts, and prior to any project moving forward, council would be approving at least contracts, if not a further plan.
Very good. Okay.
Councilmember Cha.
I'd like to request wherever the
you have 2 minutes.
Pickleball ends up court to be, can we install a sound measurement device, kind of like a speed meter, so sound meter? I think that way the community could help us encourage each other to keep the sound down, and then use better ball, paddy the balls, paddy the pedals. Then that way, whichever community this ends up to be, we are all together trying to keep it under 65 decibel, which is the city limit. And I think it helps when there is a meter. And the question for the staff is, do we have to approve this plan today? Because back in 2014, when I first got involved in the council, the city council at the time considered Stevens Creek Corridor plan. The plan ends up to cost about, I think, $40 million to $70 million. That council decided to not proceed. So are we in a hard deadline, we have to approve it today, or can we get this to come back to have better resolution for the pickleball court location, maybe possible court, and then we take, especially we don't have money right now.
So the short answer to your question is no. Council can send it back to the design board, but as I mentioned, we will be coming back for a contract amendment to allow the consultant to do additional design to do reshuffling. There's no deadline for the specific plan or the M&D to be approved tonight. It's completely council's discretion to kick it down the road.
Councilmember Wei.
Thank you, Mayor Mohan. I think I have 1 minute 45 seconds. So if I know Vice Mayor Kroom seems to have a friendly amendment, but I'm going to do a friendly amendment first. So my friendly amendment is as recommended. As my amendment is on number 3, that the staff, when it comes back to the final design, put an effort to relocate the pickleball courts. Okay, and also to add another bocce ball. But that is just our direction. It's not 100% that you have to do it, but do your best to do that. Is that a good friendly amendment? Or Vice Mayor Froome can add it the friendly amendment?
I guess my question would be, does staff understand the friendly amendment?
If I can rephrase it, I think when we come back for the final design, council's direction, friendly amendment includes adding the second bocce ball court that was recommended by Parks and Rec Commission, and also take into the consideration of neighboring parcels next to the pickleball court, and make sure all of the sound mitigation or evaluations are adequately addressed, and including, I'll even throw in sufficient community outreach.
So cast, I would accept the friendly amendment. Does the movement accept it? You're the movement.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Can I propose a friendly amendment to?
Friendly amendment to a friendly amendment?
And to the motion. A friendly amendment to the motion for the staff to consider cost-cutting measures. That is there any way we don't have to reduce the scope in some of the improvements? I think staff has successfully done it for the McClellan Ranch community garden. It was initially like a $5 million project, was reduced to $3 million. So can we give direction to staff to explore cost-cutting measures? So the project is more feasible with our budget.
I don't believe that there's any cost associated with the specific plan, but we definitely hear your consideration and we'll take that into serious account.
does the mover accept the friendly amendment?
No, I don't.
Oh.
And I'll explain that. We're not talking about 1 million here or 1 million there. These are huge. Even just phase 1B, which is what staff recommended would be the first phase, is about $20 million. So we're talking about big numbers here, and we have not identified the sources, the funding sources for this entire conceptual plan. So I don't think the time for talking money.
So you're not
today.
objecting to it, you are just objecting to the timing?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, Councilmember Moore.
Thank you. So I want to clarify the motion. Will it have the review of the location of the pickleball courts off of Anton and Stevens Creek Boulevard to potentially be near parking lot 23, which is kind of sandwiching it between where the playground was and that long parking area that previously had the farmers market? Will that be considered? I just want to make sure that the people who are concerned about the location that we're considering that they have that assurance from us that it is going to be looked into.
So my concern there would be not to be so specific in terms of giving direction to the consultants. It just sort of hamstrings them. The idea of looking or considering other options for the pickleball court location would be something they would, I think, as part of the friendly amendment that Councilmember Way proposed.
Okay, so just so that everybody knows that is an option, that can happen. Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, where are we now? We have a motion, we have a friendly amendment. What do we go with first? We can go. Okay.
So Mayor, there's one motion on the table. It has been amended by the friendly amendment proposed by Councilmember Way. Councilmember Chow had a friendly amendment that you did not accept, but you clarified that was based on the timing. So we do have a motion on the table. There are a handful of council members with time left, but if they don't have time left, this would be appropriate. If they don't have additional comments, this would be appropriate time to vote.
Okay, it looks like we have discussed everyone's concerns, and I'm not seeing any lights, so let's just go ahead and vote for the motion, including the friendly amendment.
Can I please clarify the motion exactly regarding the friendly amendment? Can you remind me?
I would recommend, Kirsten, did you get the motion? Could you read that back for council?
Yes, the friendly amendment is to council provides direction. It includes adding the second bocce ball court that was recommended by the Parks and Recreation Commission, and also to take into consideration the neighboring parcels next to the pickleball court, and to make sure all the sound mitigation or evaluations are adequately addressed, including sufficient community outreach.
Wait, I thought Councilmember Way was suggesting considering potential alternate locations. That wasn't included in your description. Was that accurate?
Okay, I think I mistyped. So to make sure that sound mitigation and alternate locations are adequately addressed, and including sufficient community outreach.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the motion, and please vote if you haven't already. Yes. Okay.
Mohan's motion as amended by Way carries unanimously.
Okay. So thank you everyone for attending this evening's meeting. We have more, but those who have come for the Memorial Park can leave if you want to. Okay.
That when
Madam City Manager, is there a report from you?
Yes, Mayor. I actually have a promotional video for the Earth Day for council and the audience if you would like to see that.
Yes.
Video, can you go ahead and play the Earth Day promotional video?
Earth Day is a great day to create awareness around sustaining our planet and planting new trees. We love to do that. We love to play in our backyard. It's a springtime, so lots of flowers, lots of new plants. Love being here. Thank you.
We are at Earth Day to let Cupertino residents know about their new choice in renewable power. And we're here because we want to help the environment and reduce greenhouse gas emissions by purchasing 100% carbon-free electricity.
Thank you, Mayor. And the Earth Day is coming up in 2 Saturdays, and we look forward to see all of you participating in this fun event.
Okay, great. Thank you. That concludes our meeting for this evening. Thank you all for coming, and the meeting is adjourned.